Well, it's not every day we have a show and are completely vindicated on our opinions within 24 hours, but here we are. Welcome in, where we know the news a day ahead of time, apparently. If I could, my dad said one time, if he could get tomorrow's paper, he'd be a billionaire. Well, that's true. That's true. If I could only have tomorrow's paper. Well, you guys had today's paper yesterday. I told you, I believed in my heart of hearts that Erika was in Georgia yesterday, and I do believe now that's accurate. It's still my opinion. I can't say 100%, but I'm like 99.99999 repeating percent. Sure, I'm right about that. I needed to look no further than Andrew's horrific getup, his embarrassing getup, his dress slop. But you know, hey, the man looks like $1 million. I can't help it. He goes on Fox News the next morning and he looks amazing. He goes out on the stage to interview the vice president and he looks homeless, recently homeless, but homeless. And that's no offense to our unhoused brethren who may be tuning in. You're welcome here as well. Welcome in. This is for everyone. This is a show for anyone, but not everyone. And what I mean by that is we have some standards around here. Number one is we want to get to the bottom of the truth of everything we cover. We want to be accurate. We want to be right. Not right meaning I want to be right, but I want to be in the right. One commenter made that comment last night. I want to be in the right. I want to be accurate as we understand things, and I do believe that's the case. Every time we take the microphone, we do a lot of research around here and we try to get it right. But we did predict that last night that she was there. I do now believe in my heart of hearts she was there. Still just an opinion, Erika. Calm down. Put the phone down, Erika. Put it down. Put the phone down. You don't have to call your lawyer right this second. Stop. It's unnecessary. Boy, do we have a show lined up for you tonight. Wow. I started thinking, could we possibly top what happened last night? Yeah, we can. Today's a great time. I do want to remind you, Jesse on Fire is going to be on tomorrow on the member show. I saw some pushback. Great. Join us. You'll have an opportunity to weigh in on the comments and ask Jesse your favorite questions. I don't know whether we'll talk Charlie Kirk or I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll find out ahead of time. We're going to meet shortly before the show starts and we'll talk about what we want to talk about. But we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a great time. He's a very talented broadcaster and has become somebody I enjoy chatting with from time to time. And that will be all for tomorrow. Now, special announcement. I don't know if he's even announced this yet. I will be on Lionel Nation tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I have no idea in Hill Country and out west what that equals. But by the time you get into the Balkans, guys, I have no idea what that means for you people over there. We're huge in the Balkans, so I'm sure a lot of people would want to tune in for that. But 6 p.m. tomorrow night, I will be on with Lionel Nation. I like Lionel a lot. I'm hoping that I don't have to. I'm going to keep a dictionary near me just in case, but I'm hoping I don't have to resort to it very often. But he did say penchant in his email. He said penchant and toise in his emails. So that's a bad sign of what may be coming tomorrow night. Other things. There were a couple other things I wanted to mention. We'll get to them. Got a great show lined up for you. Oh. This is great. So the opening I've chosen for tonight, I did gaslighting last night. We've been going through a psychology series. I don't know if you've noticed this. We did cognitive dissonance. We did gaslighting. There was some other psychological term we did. Tonight, we're doing another one. Another psychological term that plays on the human condition. And we saw it today. And I'll explain all that. I'll put it all together after we do the opening. But this is, man, you guys are on like the edge of your seat. You don't need a whole seat to watch this program on a daily basis. This is, I think, graphite gray, I think is what I would call it. I see you guys arguing about it. This is graphite gray, I think is what I would call this. This is the second favorite hoodie I own. The second most comfortable, second longest owned hoodie I own. This thing has been through the ringers. I've run in this hoodie. I've worked out in this. This is a great hoodie. This baby's been with me a long time. Okay. Now, I wasn't going to mention this. There's one more thing. There's a troll on Twitter, and I let her hang around. I block a lot of these trolls, but she's not impolite. She doesn't say ugly words. She doesn't attack people. But she's been asking me to account for things Candace has said. Oh, but Baron, are you going to address what Candace said? What does Candace say about this? Is she going to apologize for that? I don't work for her. I certainly don't answer for her to cartoon avatars. with stupid usernames. Be yourself, and I might talk to you like an adult. If not, you're going to get what you get. You're going to get the salty side of your humble host. Okay, I want to get into the opening because this is a fun one. Oh, I got to change the font, though. That's too small. I forgot. I usually do the font larger and add a little spacing, and I didn't have time to do that today because, well, I did have time. I just didn't do it. Okay, here we go. So I want to get through this opening because it has practical application to news that is broken in the last 24 hours. Actually, the last couple of hours. I did not know the news was going to break when I got this, and I'll explain what news broke. It was an article in the British press. Candace covered it on her show. I'll explain what the application is to limited hangouts. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the limited hangout. I think it's one of the most effective PR strategies there is for bad guys. Good guys don't need limited hangouts, of course. Good guys are just honest. We just say what we mean, and we mean what we say. Liars need limited hangouts. And TPUSA has employed a limited hangout in the last 24 hours. I just caught wind of it a couple hours ago watching Candace. So we will get to that. Here is, hold please. I screwed that all up. Here is your opening statement. A limited hangout, also known as a partial hangout, is a sophisticated information strategy often deployed by liars. It's employed in espionage, politics, media relations, corporate crisis management, even basic perception operations. It involves the deliberate, controlled release of a portion of the truth. The limited truth is often something sensational, embarrassing. That's the thing tonight. And incriminating. But importantly, it ultimately is peripheral. Man, I cannot wait to get into this. I'm sorry. I hate to keep interrupting the opening statement, but this is so on the money tonight. Okay, back to the opening statement. I apologize. But importantly, it often ultimately is peripheral. It's designed to create the illusion of transparency and candor. The goal is damage control, not full disclosure. Ideally, the release will satisfy public or media curiosity just enough to blunt deeper scrutiny, while the most damaging facts and broader implications remain concealed. As a tactic, it exploits basic human psychology. In this case, it's the tendency to feel satisfied once a reveal has occurred and to lose momentum in pursuing further investigation. Rather than a complete cover-up, which risks exposure, or total denial, which erodes credibility when facts emerge, a limited hangout offers a self-contained narrative that feels revelatory, but ultimately stops short of real accountability. The term originated as insider jargon within the U.S. intelligence community, particularly the CIA and the FBI. The term limited hangout predates its public prominence and was used informally among operatives as a standard tradecraft tool. It managed leaks or scandals when full secrecy became untenable. The first detailed public explanation and popularization of the phrase came from Victor Marchetti. Marchetti was a former CIA officer who served as a special assistant to the agency's deputy director in the late 1960s. In a May 8, 1978 article published in The Spotlight, Marchetti defined limited hangout. He defined it explicitly as, quote, spy jargon for a favorite and frequently used gimmick of the clandestine professionals. When their veil of secrecy is shredded and they can no longer rely on phony cover stories to misinform the public, they resort to admitting, sometimes even volunteering, some of the truth while still managing to withhold the key and damaging facts of the case. The public, however, is so intrigued by the new information that it never thinks to pursue the matter further, end quote. Marchetti had resigned from the CIA in protest over its practices, and then he co-authored a book. The 1974 book, The CIA and the Cult of Intelligence. He drew extensively and directly from his insider experience. He illustrated the tactic with the CIA's handling of the Church Committee in the mid-1970s. They were investigating intelligence abuses. According to Marchetti, the agency staged a clever, limited hangout by selectively admitting certain operations that fascinated the public enough to divert away attention from deeper involvement in events like the JFK assassination or domestic surveillance here in America. Doing this allowed them to protect core secrets. Just 5 years earlier, the phrase had entered the public mainstream. That was during the Watergate scandal, March 22, 1973. In a taped Oval Office conversation, President Richard Nixon and his top aides in the White House, this is White House counsel John Dean, Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman, and Domestic Affairs Advisor John Ehrlichman. They debated how to contain the growing scandals surrounding the break-in at the DNC. Nixon floated the idea of letting it hang out, so to speak. That's his quote, letting it hang out, so to speak. Dean responded that it was essentially a limited hangout. Haldeman echoed the term. Ehrlichman then refined it as a modified limited hangout. Context, of course, was clear. The group planned to have Dean prepare a misleading report claiming nobody in the White House was involved. That report would then be shared with the Senate Watergate Committee. The report would mix partial admissions with outright falsehoods. It would blame lower level operatives. But importantly, it would provide Nixon with plausible deniability. Ehrlichman is frequently credited with coining or at least popularizing the modified variant, which emphasized blending verifiable truths with strategic omissions or, again, outright lies. But it makes the entire package more credible. The recordings of the Oval Office exchange were later released and immortalized the exchange and the phrase. The exchange embedded the concept in the American political lexicon as shorthand for Nixonian damage control. At its core, a limited hangout operates through misdirection and selective revelation. It begins when denial is no longer viable, either due to leaks, probes, pressure. Instead of stonewalling, the person or group releases a package, a controlled package of information. The information includes intriguing details. It feels like a scoop. These details often are laced with minor embarrassments or even overzealous actions by subordinates. And this creates in the audience a psychological release valve. The public and press are eager to accept the appearance of accountability, and they tend to focus on the disclosed elements and overlook what is absent. The modified limited hangout adds deliberate falsehoods or spin to reinforce the narrative's plausibility. The tactic's effectiveness stems from cognitive biases, whether confirmation bias, the illusion of completeness, or just plain attention fatigue. The human mind grabs onto the lifeline offered by the limited hangout. As discussed, the most famous historical example is, in fact, the one that coined the term, Watergate. The March 1973 discussion exemplified the strategy in action. Nixon's team sought to craft a report that admitted peripheral involvement while shielding the president and top aides. When the full scope of the hush money, obstruction of justice, and the plumbers unit later emerged, the limited hangout failed spectacularly and contributed mightily to Nixon's resignation in 1974. However, the term endured. Watergate serves as a cautionary tale of how partial disclosures can temporarily delay, but often cannot prevent exposure when independent investigations persist. Another textbook case of a limited hangout is the Iran-Contra affair. This happened under President Ronald Reagan in the mid-1980s. When rumors surfaced of a secret arms deal, administration initially employed a limited hangout. November 1986, officials admitted the U.S. had sold a small amount of defensive weapons and spare parts to Iran. The framing was benign. After all, who could possibly oppose an effort to improve relations with a hostile regime and, to boot, perhaps secure hostage releases? The partial truth was sensational enough to dominate headlines, and it satisfied the initial outrage. However, it omitted the far more damaging elements of Iran-Contra. Things like explicit arms for hostages trades that violated U.S. policy and the illegal diversion of proceeds to fund Nicaraguan Contras. This bypassed congressional bans. In other words, the limited hangout failed to disclose the major laws that were being broken. Only later investigations by the Tower Commission and Congress revealed the full network involving Oliver North and the National Security Council. Intelligence agencies have repeatedly turned to this tactic during oversight crises. Marchetti himself pointed to the CIA's involvement with the Church Committee that was probing covert intelligence community scandals in the 1970s as a classic example of a limited hangout. Facing exposure of assassination plots, mind control experiments, illegal domestic spying, the agency volunteered a few documents and admitted some isolated abuses. These revelations astonished the public. The media went crazy. But these releases were calibrated to hold broader operational details and authorizations at the highest levels secret. Similarly, in the aftermath of Edward Snowden's 2013 NSA leaks, the agency's chief compliance officer publicly disclosed an operation called LoveInt, L-O-V-E-I-N-T. LoveInt allegedly were rare but shocking instances where CIA analysts misused surveillance tools to spy on their romantic interests. The admission was framed as evidence of rigorous internal discipline, as the violators were fired and punished. While technically true, it served also as a limited hangout because it highlighted the anecdotal personal misconduct and it distracted from systemic, warrantless bulk collection of spying on Americans. Beyond government, limited hangouts have migrated into other spheres. Corporate scandals often feature limited hangouts in crisis PR. We got one today. I'm going to talk about it. For example, a company might admit to a single faulty product batch or isolated employee error while concealing widespread systemic issues or executive knowledge. Political parties and the media outlets have been accused of similar maneuvers, such as selectively emphasizing or downplaying aspects of investigations to preserve larger narratives. The limited hangout remains potent, primarily because it weaponizes the very transparency it feigns. In an era of instant leaks and 24-hour news cycles, full denial often is impossible. There's simply too many interested outsiders with access to a flood of information. The controlled release of a partial truth via a limited hangout offers a lifeline. However, and this is key to what we're doing for the last 7+ months, whether a limited hangout succeeds depends on the audience's willingness to stop investigating. When countered by persistent journalism, persistent whistleblowers, or persistent independent probes, limited hangouts frequently unravel, like they did in Watergate and Iran-Contra. Recognizing this pattern requires asking not just, what are they telling us, but what are they not telling us? And who benefits from them not telling us? The limited hangout endures as a reminder that partial sunlight can sometimes obscure more than it illuminates. Whether the truth is ever illuminated depends on whether the investigators get distracted and stop investigating. That is your opening statement. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I want to talk about that tonight at some point. I don't know whether I'm going to get to it right away, but I definitely want to talk about it at some point because, well, let's talk about it now. What we got was a limited hangout. We got a limited hangout. I'm going to pull it up here. Candace talked about it on her show, but I want to put it in the terms of, man, when I heard her talking about it, I was like, I'm talking about that tonight. I'm talking about the limited hangout. Whenever I point, everything gets, I need to point over here. Whenever I point, everything gets blurry. I said, that's a limited hangout. I recognized it instantly as a limited hangout. And, you know, headlines like this are shocking. Humiliating reason. Humiliating real reason. Erika Kirk pulled out of J.D. Vance Turning Point USA event and her mortifying realization. The Daily Mail has learned the 37-year-old widow pulled out of a Turning Point USA event on Tuesday amid intensifying scrutiny and online mockery. Kirk had been due to interview Vice President J.D. Vance at the University of Georgia for an event run by her late husband's organization, which she took the helm of after his assassination last year. but she failed to appear. TPUSA cited concerns over serious threats, but insiders say that doesn't tell the full story. I will suggest that doesn't tell any of the story. This is why it's a limited hangout. This is a modified limited hangout. That's what you're watching. We talked about it in the opening. That's what you're watching. A modified limited hangout. There is some truth. It's scandalous. It draws eyes. It draws attention. But it's ultimately padded with omissions and lies and packaged and sent out. And people will cling on to the embarrassment and they'll assume it's true and they're getting the whole story. Because after all, why would she admit that she pulled out due to embarrassment, at least partially? Well, no, it was entirely due to embarrassment. Kirk has faced criticism from some online commentators who felt her return to public life after Charlie's death was too swift, or that her appearances struck the wrong tone. Oh, it's just the wrong tone, guys. Trust us, she's really great. She's a wonderful person. She just doesn't know how to strike the right tone. She's just so clumsy. She's just the clumsiest person you'd ever meet. Oh, good-hearted, sure, but just clumsy and embarrassed. Close confidant told the Daily Mail she's aware of how she's coming across. She's not stupid. She's seen the online comments. She gets it. It hurts. See, this is the modified limited hangout. This embarrassment, this pain, this shock that we all get because this is the first time she's appeared remotely human. But they bury the reality in a bunch of lies. They never once say she was lying about the security threat. They never once say she was actually at Georgia, which I believe she was, in my opinion. Last month, the backlash reached a new level after a viral video by comedian Drewski mocked Kirk's behavior after her husband's killing, featuring exaggerated expressions and fake tears. The Insider continued, the Drewski video showed what people thought of her. She's really hurt that people are feeling this way about her, that they're mocking her. No, she's not. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. And if this is true, this is all that needed to be said. And I love that they put a picture of her in a gold sparkly Elvis suit. This woman had the temerity to wear this on stage while grieving. That's why we're mocking you. Your jewelry, your clothes, your fake hair, your makeup, your weird expressions, your inability to control your eyes. That's why we're mocking you. I don't feel bad about saying that. She pulled out of the TPUSA event because of a bunch of factors. Lies. I don't think it was just security concern. Lies. I don't think it was security concerns at all. Nobody is, I hope not. I hope nobody's threatening this woman. Nobody needs to threaten anybody. It's unnecessary. Not only is it not necessary, it's wrong. It's wrong. Don't threaten people. Now they get to the truth here. If there were security concerns, the vice president wouldn't have gone. Far-right commentator. Candace Owens is mainstream right. You guys understand that, right? Most of the country agrees with her political views. Far-right commentator Candace Owens, who has peddled outlandish conspiracy theories. So outlandish. About Charlie's death, suggested Kirk's no-show was due to low ticket sales. But the Insider added, it wasn't just ticket sales. Oh, so it was ticket sales too. Ticket sales, embarrassment, security. One of these is not like the other. Security. I'll just go ahead and spoil the surprise. Embarrassment and ticket sales go hand in hand. The reason you can't get ticket sales is because of the things that you're embarrassed about, the way you behave, the way you act. It's not me attacking her. This is me begging her to go home. Stop this. Stop trying to force us to accept you. I don't want to. I don't want someone in a gold Elvis suit grieving their husband telling me to buy merch. It's not where I am in life. It's not where I am. It was a mental exhaustion of like, nothing I do will be right. People will make fun. So she canceled. We finally get buried in like paragraph 13, the truth. It wasn't security concerns, allegedly, in my opinion. Nothing I do will be right. You've met people like this. Nothing I do is good enough. Well, no. Everything you do is wrong. That's the problem. It's not that nothing you do will be right. It's that there are right things to do and you're just choosing not to do them. I believe this story, but I believe parts of this story, but you got to get rid of all the limited hangout. They pack this. I cannot believe that this story came out on the day that I was doing the limited hangout opening. I can't believe it. I could not have packaged this any better if I tried. This is a textbook example of a modified limited hangout. Thank you, Ehrlichman. Thank you, Haldeman. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Nixon. This is it. This is it. 51 years later, this is it. This is a modified limited hangout. Take some measure of truth. She's humiliated. Package lies on it. She doesn't, it's not because of who she really is. It's that we don't understand her. Okay. That's a lie we packaged on it. No, it's because of who she is. It packed more lies on it. Oh, there's a security concern. Lies. It was also about low ticket sales. Lies. It was the low ticket sales was because of the Drewski skit. I said that last night. That's what I'm saying. It's very rare that I do a show and like less than 24 hours later, everything I say is confirmed. Yet, here we are. Happened again, not just this time, because last night I suggested, as did Mel, the village crazy lady, because I stole it from her. I gave her credit last night when I stole it, but I did steal it from her. I didn't steal it. I highlighted the fact that she said it because it was brilliant. Last night, Mel, the village crazy lady, speculated that this might be part of the cancellation, might have been the donors. Erika promised at AmFest TPUSA would going to pump up Vance in 28. That was Charlie's position too. But these Zionists have been clearly very unhappy with Vance, despite him being a pathetic dog and jumping on their every command. They want someone else. So TPUSA sets up this event with Vance. They do zero promotion for it. Then Erika bails on Vance at the very last minute and leaves him looking like a fool in a nearly empty stadium. I would add, Mel, they left him looking like a fool in a nearly empty stadium, being interviewed by someone who looked like he was homeless. Newly homeless, but homeless. Certainly didn't intend to interview the vice president on stage. I say we've been ratified on that because I have a 1-minute clip here from Eyebrows that I think indicates Mel may have been onto something. Listen to Eyebrows talk about the vice president of the United States.
And Theo Von is basically just a Bernie Sanders leftist who does not like the censorious impulses of the left and engages in all the same conspiracy theories and, of course, is good friends with Candace Owens and all of the rest of it. And that's the guy that the vice president thinks that everybody should listen to. Now, listen, maybe the vice president thinks he has to kiss Theo Von's half-retarded ass in order to keep him in the coalition.
I just want to point out, I didn't say the R word. That was him. That wasn't me. Don't email me. Don't comment. That wasn't me. And I'm not the one that's edgy. I'm not the guy who got picked on my whole life and trying to fit in by saying cuss words. That's Ben. That's him. So don't come on to me on that stuff. Theo Von. You know how Theo Von is. But he's gone after the vice president for recommending Theo Von.
And that's his political calculation. I think it's a bad political calculation. There's no politician who is fully capable of just picking up a prior president's coalition and then just carrying it forward. It didn't work for Hillary Clinton with Barack Obama. It's not going to work for J.D. Vance with Donald Trump. Just because Theo Von and Joe Rogan back Trump doesn't mean that they're going to get behind Donald Trump. They're going to get behind J.D. Vance. The reality is that the vice president's current coalitional strategy, I think, is deeply flawed. It is hard for me to see how he doesn't shrink President Trump's coalition across the board. But that's a political calculation. Maybe his is better than mine. It is certainly not a moral calculation.
He's immoral. Oh, sorry. I said that wrong. He's immoral. He's immoral. That is a political calculation, but he is immoral. It's an immoral political calculation, telling people to listen to Theo Von. Theo Von holds unapproved political positions. I am Eyebrows.
I am your gatekeeper, eyebrows. And right now I'm very angry. It would make me very happy if you would not listen to Theo Vaughn. But the vice president's recommending you listen to Theo Vaughn. I am Ben Shapiro. This has been A Minute with Ben.
I apologize, guys, that I did that. I apologize that I had to show you that. But once again, when we make a prediction and it comes true less than 24 hours later, I'm going to point it out. I'm going to point it out.
Even if I have to go to this guy.
I'm going to point it out. I can't help it. I can't help it. All right. Enough self-aggrandizement. I'm going to break my arm patting myself on the back. I'll stop now. Trust me. It's not very humble. I was not being your humble host. I apologize. Let me bring myself down a notch. Let me get down off of my high horse. Ben doesn't have a high horse. He has a midget horse, but I have a high horse, and I'm going to get off of it for just a moment. I want to take you back in time to something that, frankly, is so shocking to the conscience. I cannot believe it happened, but it did. Here is the headline. It's going to set up a story we're going to cover in just a moment. This is a headline from November 19, 2025. 2 News investigates, discovers possible missing evidence in Charlie Kirk murder case. Dateline Salt Lake City. 2 News investigates, uncovered possible missing surveillance video of Tyler Robinson turning himself into the Washington County Sheriff's Office just days after allegedly shooting and killing Charlie Kirk. Our job was not to interview. Our job was just to get him here, said disgraced Washington. Well, I added the disgraced. He wasn't disgraced at the time, but he is now, so I'll put it in there. Said disgraced Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby on September 17. Within the hour, my friend drove Tyler and his parents to my office, where he was greeted by plainclothes detectives. 2 News filed a public records request with the Washington County Sheriff's Office for video showing Robinson entering the Washington County jail holding area and video of Robinson in a holding room. Quote, we do not have any records responsive to this portion of the request, as Tyler Robinson did not go to or enter the jail area. To put it more simply, nana, nana, boo-boo, you did not use the magic words. This is what happens when people get too cute in these requests. Stop trying to use big words. Stop trying to act like you understand the system. Be very broad, and then offer that they can narrow your request for you should they choose. So you say, I want all video of Tyler Robinson on the premises from the moment he exited his car until the moment he is whisked away by Utah County officials. Nevertheless, if some of those are not statutorily available due to restrictions on investigatory materials, please give me what you're able to give me, including anything in the parking lot, anything of him walking in the door, anything in public areas. Why is that so hard? Why do you have to be so cute? Anyway, they did not get it. They did not use the magic words. But Washington County was on notice that First Amendment protected news organizations were wanting this information. 2 News filed I already read that part. A few weeks later, 2 News re-upped the request in a more generalized fashion. Oh, okay. You should have done that the first time. Inquiring for surveillance video showing Tyler Robinson walking into the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Now, was that hard? Was that hard? Our office does not, here's the response they got. Quote, our office does not have any applicable records response to this request, as the surveillance footage is no longer available after the 30-day retention period. What does that tell you? It tells me that it was deleted. It's no longer available. They had a retention period. It's no longer retained. I'm starting to wonder if that's true. I think they might have lied. I think disgraced Sheriff Brooksby's office might have just lied to their face. Because now we're getting this, which indicates everything they just said was a lie. And this is the problem with this investigation. There is deep dishonesty. Deep dishonesty. Let me back out here. I want to show you where I found this. I give people credit when I can. I found this on X, a guy named Steve Cameron. PR1 put this up. Here is how it sounds. Now let me set the recording up. This is an appeal from the news organization. This is the lawyer for the news organization. And the indication is this stuff does in fact exist. They're just not turning it over. We'll look at it a little more closely in a second, but if they're right and this stuff does actually exist and it's just not being turned over, the obvious question is why. There's no danger in upsetting the investigation by watching Tyler Robinson walk into a parking lot, right? When he shows up in court, we all know he's been arrested. We all know he's been charged. We all know he's been indicted or however they do it over there. We all know he's gone through the process. Part of the process is you go into the custody of the police. And apparently he just walked through the parking lot with his folks. So there's no, in my opinion, there's no a danger of prejudicing the jury pool. But here is the way it was described on this hearing.
Thank you, Director, for taking the time to hear our appeal. Good morning. I am an attorney for CBS News, and I'm presenting this argument on behalf of Evan Cohen, an editor for CBS News, who is appealing the county's decision in this matter. You have the request and the procedural history before you, but the substance of the request is as follows. A copy of the surveillance video from the lobby of the Washington County Sheriff's Office in Hurricane, Utah, from 6 p.m. Mountain Time on September 11th, 2025, to 1 a.m. Mountain Time on September 12th, 2025, in addition to any surveillance video of Tyler Robinson waiting with his parents and any interaction in the interrogation room. Washington County denied the request preliminarily and upheld that denial, stating that the release of the records could reasonably interfere with the ongoing investigation, could reasonably interfere with criminal enforcement proceedings and the criminal prosecution of the subject, and would create a danger of depriving the subject to a fair trial or impartial hearing.
Okay, two parts of this I want to cover. Number one. Sounds like the video exists. Does that mean the government lied to hide key evidence in this investigation? When News 2 asked for that exact same footage and they said it does not exist because of the department's 30-day retention period? Sounds like it exists. Second key fact. This goes to something we've been reporting and been insisting on that we believe is accurate. They asked for footage from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. We know by 1 a.m. he was gone. Why 6 p.m.? If he didn't turn himself in until 9 or 10 p.m., why are we asking for footage from 6 p.m.? CBS News has people on the ground. They have people who've interviewed people in Washington County. They know what we know, frankly, which is everybody in town was under the impression by 6:30 or 7, Tyler Robinson had already turned himself in. This was just accepted as fact around town. If you talk to people in St. George, they'll tell you that. This is just fact. He was turned himself in by 6:30 or 7 o'clock. We know the defense referenced him being Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on the evening of his arrest, which was September 11th. He was arrested on September 11th. 6:25 p.m. on the evening of his arrest would be 6:25 p.m. on September 11th. And we know that Washington County does not want to turn the footage over. They are hiding it with everything they've got. They're refusing to give it. They're hiring lawyers. The lawyers are appealing. They do not want to turn this footage over. Why? I think it shows him walking in before 7 o'clock, probably before 6:25, if I had to guess. I can't think of any other reason they wouldn't just say, fine, here it is. Here's your footage. It shows him walking in the parking lot when we said he did, around 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Have fun with it. No, friends, they're not doing that. They're forcing an appeal. They're going before a judge. They're hoping to find some sympathetic judge that will keep them from having to turn that over. So I'm just telling you guys, I'm pretty sure we're right about this 6:25 p.m. on the 11th business. Now, what that does to the 7:57 Discord message, did he have his phone? Did his mom have a laptop he had access to? I don't, hey, take that up with take it up with someone else. I'm just reporting the facts as I see them. Anyone who says I'm lying about it, you better have evidence that I'm wrong, because otherwise you're just making an idiot out of yourself. Now, is it possible I'm wrong? Yeah, sure. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I don't think I'm wrong about this. I wouldn't intentionally say something I believed was wrong. All right. Let me move. Let me move to this. We covered this yesterday, but we covered it during the question and answer portion of the show, and some people may not have heard that. So I want to go back over this real quickly, because there are a couple things I didn't notice last night that I want to get to tonight. And there, obviously, if people didn't watch the 3.5 hour mark of last night's show or whenever it was, they didn't see any of this. So let me go through this quickly. I will be quick. There are two motions I want to show tonight. This is one, and there's another one that was filed and released just today. I want to show that one as well. But this one is the defense's motion for the judge to issue an order that would prohibit any alteration of the evidence of the bullet jacket fragment that allegedly was recovered from inside of Charlie Kirk. So I want to slide down. This is just normal stuff. They're saying, hey, they're going to break it. Like, they're going to use pliers on this thing. They've already conducted an evaluation. In conducting the evaluation already on this, apparently they've altered the evidence in some way by using pliers or using some sort of tool on this bullet jacket fragment. The defense is saying, please stop taking metal tools to a bullet jacket fragment that is key evidence that might go towards guilt or reasonable doubt. And we could go through that part, but if you're interested, Andrea Burkhart has all these on her page. You can go look at it. Where I want to slide down to is the actual ATF report itself. I found something interesting on here today. See if I can make this a little bigger. Yeah, a little bigger. I found something interesting on this today. So we have 6 pieces of evidence. We have the gun. Oh, I can't do that. I was going to highlight these one at a time, but I can't. Item number 1 here is the gun. The gun itself. 1 Mauser Model 98 30-aught Springfield caliber rifle bearing serial number 8863 with an optical accessory. Now, your humble host did a little research because I found that serial number odd. I instantly went through guns in my house and thought, what are the serial numbers on those? And I found 8863 an awfully low serial number. So then I did a little research, and I found out when the different Mauser manufacturers started issuing serial numbers with 5 digits. Every single one of them I could find by 1944 had been issuing serial numbers with 5 digits. They started with 1, all of them, 0001, and then they went up to 9,999. And around 1943 or 1944, there were so many Mausers being ordered that they rolled over to 10,000. Which would put this gun with serial number, I keep forgetting I can't highlight, which would put this gun with serial number 8863 earlier vintage than 1944, maybe earlier than 1943. So hold on to that and put that feather in the back of your cap. We'll come back to it. Then we have the spent case. This is item number 2 here. This is the spent case. Then we have 3 cartridges that were not spent. And then, so they're 4 total cartridges. 1 is just the case. 3 are the cartridges with the bullets, meaning it's of the gun holds 4 bullets. 1 of them was fired. Now, was one of them fired on the afternoon of September 10th at the UVU campus? Well, we can't know. We can't know from this, obviously. But 1 of them had been spent, meaning it had no bullet in it. The other 3 had the bullet still in it. Now we get down to number 6 here. 1 bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments. As we talked about last night, this is a problem for the Fed sloppers. They're going to try to gaslight us into saying this is a problem for us. It is not. This is not a problem for us. This is a good, if if you're looking for reasonable doubt, this is a favorable report. Here's why. One of the problems that initially got people looking into this at all was the fact that no one could believe a 30-06 caliber rifle stopped in 3 inches of neck tissue. Anyone who's ever fired one, and I have, they're like firing a cannon. A very powerful round. Very powerful round. It's obnoxiously loud. It has a tremendous kick to it. I mean, it kicks like a donkey. And when you hit something with it, it just destroys it. You hit the side of an elk, it's through and through 2 feet of elk. And if an elk is standing immediately behind that, it's maybe through and through that one, at least through it. Tremendously powerful round. It would be like, you know those thin coffee tables people had in the 80s? They were glass. Those glass thin coffee tables. Everybody had them. Probably had one in your house. If not, you went to someone's house who had. But they had like a wood or a glass frame around the outside, and they were intact, but they were glass. It would be like taking a 16-pound bowling ball, throwing it way up in the air, having it land on the glass and stop and not break. No one would believe it. People would be like, well, that's not glass. What is that? That's obviously not a 16-pound bowling ball. What is that, styrofoam? It's just impossible to believe that a 30-06 caliber rifle stopped in the neck. And it led people into the beginning of the speculation stage. Well, perhaps it was a cartridge that was loaded with a deficient amount of powder. Perhaps it was an old cartridge, 75, 80, 100-year-old 30-06 round. And maybe it wasn't stored properly. It had moisture and rust in it, and it just, didn't fire right. It misfired. Well, the problem with that is accuracy. Maybe it was a frangible bullet. Remember we went through frangible bullet land? Maybe it was a frangible round. The problem with that is people like Trigger Smart, people like Heavy Duty Country, people like Jesse on Fire, Nate, Valhalla, VFT, they all went out and shot frangible rounds and full metal jacket rounds and soft point rounds, and they shot these 30-06 rounds, as many as they could find. There are thousands of these videos, thousands of rounds of 30-06 being fired at just about everything imaginable, including femur bones, concrete blocks, all kinds of meat, roast beef, frozen turkey. I mean, just everything you can imagine. And it went through everything, as a 30-06 would. It just shattered the femur bones and destroyed the concrete block behind it. And so instantly, everybody begins to think that could not have been a 30-06. You can give me any kind of slop you want. I'm not eating that. You can put it on the plate. I'm not going to take a bite. I will not indulge your Fed slop. That is Fed slop. Well, now we know it was a commercially available 30-06 round, Springfield ammo, Remington Springfield ammo, because they found the boxes of it allegedly back at his house. And it was just a full metal jacket lead bullet. Probably 150 to 220 grain round. And it would have arrived at Tyler's neck, at Charlie's neck with like 2,500 plus pounds of force. And it would have poked a hole through it like a hole punch does through a piece of notebook paper. Just going right through. It would have been ghastly too. It would have been ghastly. The hole coming out the back would have been just horrific. The expansion of his neck, it might just exploded on all sides. It would have been horrific. So I think you look at this ATF report and you think, well, we obviously know that wasn't it. 100% sure. But it's the serial number that gets me, that 8863 serial number, because here is the original image that was released by the New York Post of this rifle. And you tell me, does this look like a pre-1944 30-06? Maybe. That looks like a synthetic stock to me. Maybe it's just wood that's been painted black with like Rust-Oleum or something. But are you going to take a gun like that, take it apart, paint the stock with Rust-Oleum? I don't know. That looks to me Maybe I'm wrong. I am more than willing to be wrong on this. And again, part of the show prep is I look at every piece of evidence and think, what would the Fed sloppers say? What possibly could be opposite to me? And that doesn't look like a 1943 or before model 30-06. I mean, the action does, but I don't think the action's changed much on a 30-06 in 80 years. I think it's pretty much the same action. But that stock looks very, very different to me. Very, very different to me. I would also say, I don't know if I've noticed that before. Maybe that is where you mount an optic on that old of a gun. It looks like it's in the wrong. Anyway, I don't want to get lost on that because I don't know. So I think there, and if you remember the text messages, Tyler allegedly said he didn't think it had a serial number. Now we know it does. So maybe he was just wrong. Again, just trying to think through what he would say. I want to go back just so you remember. We have the discovery of the rifle. We have the audio from the discovery of the rifle. This was given to us by Truth and Transparency. This was discovered at 5:40 p.m. The timestamps in the video are in Eastern time, so you have to subtract 2 hours. But this is the, I'll leave it here before I make it big so you can see Truth and Transparency. Again, shout out to everybody doing good work and grabbing original sources. But this is the audio when they discovered it.
Go ahead. 1014, just northeast of the Losi building. Forensics has recovered a weapon. 7J16, you have traffic for me. 7J14, the forensics team has located a weapon just across the street from lot Mike 20 near the Losi building. Incident command, the shelter in place can be lifted.
10-4. Incident command also. Sierra 1 and 3 are both code 4.
Here, now blocking it off.
I'm going to jump ahead a little here. I'm going to jump ahead just a little.
Command copies.
Command, can you confirm what type of weapon is recovered? Do you guys have that info?
Stand by, I'll get that info. It's going to be a rifle of some sort. It was wrapped in a towel. We haven't exposed it yet.
Copy, that's all I need to think.
So that's how it was discovered. Forensics discovered a weapon. It was in just north of lot Mike 20, M20, northeast of the Losi Center building. It was a rifle of some sort wrapped in a towel. Now, a lot has been made of the towel and the DNA on the towel and the DNA on the rifle. Again, I've said this 1,000 times. I imagine the defense would say something like this at trial, but why would your DNA not be on your rifle? If someone removed your rifle from your house and put it at the scene of a crime, your DNA is going to be on that rifle. Does that mean you committed a crime? Is that beyond reasonable doubt? No, of course not. That will never rise to beyond reasonable doubt. You have to prove the guy fired the weapon. You have to prove he fired the weapon. Your weapon, I mean, it goes to weight, not sufficiency. Obviously, the evidence gets in. But how hard is it to say, well, of course his DNA is on his own weapon. Why would it not be? I mean, he fired the weapon 6 months ago, or he fired the weapon 10 years ago, or whatever. His DNA's on it. Big deal. It's interesting to note that I think 5 or 6 other people's DNA also was on the weapon. So that's, raises the issue that someone else could have fired that weapon, but I don't think that weapon was the kill shot. The towel also. Well, his DNA was on the towel. Well, again, if someone's setting him up, you grab a towel out of my hamper, guess whose DNA's on it? Your humble host. Your humble host. It's hair DNA, under the arm. I mean, everything you dry off, my DNA's all over it. Throw it in the hamper. You grab the towel out of the hamper, my DNA is littered on that thing. That's just not very compelling evidence to me. It's just common sense. Of course his DNA's on it. Of course his DNA's on it. So I bring that up to say the gun to me is very much still in play. The type of wound does not look like a 30-06. The fact that his DNA is found on it is not very compelling. The fact that the serial number predates 1943 or 1944, and that weapon doesn't look like a pre-1943 or 44 weapon. Now, I will say That's the only pic of the gun that's floating around. It, for some reason, ended up in the New York Post. We have no idea how it got there. Daisy has emailed them 4 times in the last 3 weeks. She's only asked them 2 questions. 1, was the firearm shown in the article obtained directly from law enforcement sources? If so, was it local law enforcement or FBI? I think it's a reasonable question. 2, can you confirm whether this image is of the actual weapon recovered in connection with the shooting? Has it been verified by law enforcement, or is the image simply representative or illustrative? I think those are fair questions. To be fair, she didn't just email the author. She's emailed like 100 people at the New York Post, and nobody wants to answer the question. That's problematic to me because this weapon is being used to convict Tyler in the court of public opinion. Oh, there it is right there. Look at the weapon. And remember, it's his granddad saw that weapon and thought, oh, that's our weapon. I gave that weapon to grandson. Where is it? So that's, or maybe the dad recognized something. But anyway, so that's somewhat of an issue. Now, I want to take a little turn here. And I'm doing it at what I feel like is risk, honestly. Because the evidence we're going to look at are airplane flights. But they're not TPUSA official airplane flights. They are airplane flights from FBI planes. And why I say it's at great risk is because of how we put the data together on a timeline with other airplane flights. Other known locations of known people, dates where we know things happened. And there's always a risk when you point out weirdness from the FBI. So I say it in all sincerity. I'm not drawing any conclusions here. I'm leaving this wholly up for the audience to decide, but this is public information. It's publicly available information. And I just want to draw your attention to it. So without saying more, I want to show you what we've built here for you so that you can help visualize this. I'm going to come over here and just show you this column first, and then I'll expand and show you another column in a moment. Again, Daisy will tell you, we've had this information for days, and I have been very reluctant to do this story. I put it at the end of every show for the last 3 days, I think, 2 or 3 days, and I keep finding an excuse not to do it. But I'm going to do it. Here are your 2 FBI planes. Number 1 is N616 Romeo Kilo. The second FBI plane is down here. Where's the second FBI plane? Oh, right there. N708 Juliet Hotel. So those are the 2 FBI planes we're going to be looking at. Now, in the days leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination, I'm curious about a few of these stops from one of these FBI planes. There are only 3 planes that I know of that are used by the FBI headquarters officials, meaning Kash Patel, perhaps Dan Bongina at the time. And it's these are 2 of the 3 planes. September 7th, N616 Romeo Kilo flies from Richmond, flies to Colorado Springs, but does not stop in Colorado Springs. Simply loops over the area in Colorado Springs and then leaves the Colorado Springs area, flies to the Chicago Rockford area, loops over there, and then leaves that area and lands back in Richmond. If this landed in Colorado Springs, which I don't know that it did, if it did it very, very briefly in the Colorado Springs area. But the ADSB seems to indicate it did not, in fact, land. It just came very low. I don't know why that is. Now, I do know Candace covered Victor Marks a couple of days ago. Victor Marks lives in the Colorado Springs area. Does he have a connection to this case? I don't know. We do know the SAM 000 flight flew to Colorado Springs on August 25th, the day that the planning started for this. And the reason that became relevant was because a SAM 702 flight also flew to Colorado Springs before flying to Fort Huachuca in the days, I think September 8th or 9th, leading up to Charlie Kirk being taken down on the 10th. So Colorado Springs has always kind of registered on my radar of a place that we need to keep an eye on. And here we are 3 days before the Charlie Kirk assassination, and a plane Kash Patel flies on half the time or so that he flies. He flies on one of these two planes almost exclusively. This plane flies over the Colorado Springs area. Now let's go forward one day. September 8th, 2 days before Charlie Kirk passes away, in the Salt Lake City area, an FBI plane lands in Salt Lake City at 12:05 and leaves Salt Lake City at 12:56. But Baron, are you saying, is it your position that Kash Patel or Dan Bongina was on a plane that flew to Salt Lake City 2 days before Charlie Kirk was taken down? And it had something to do with his assassination 2 days later? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. All I'm doing is pointing out the facts. This plane that ferries around Kash Patel often left Richmond, where this plane is often stored. There's an FBI facility in Richmond. And it flew to Salt Lake City, and it left Salt Lake City and went back 2 days before Charlie Kirk was taken out. Mind you, it's the day of the first of 2 days at Fort Huachuca, September 8th and 9th. Not this plane at Fort Huachuca, but that was, I'm just giving you context for what else was going on. September 9th. September 9th at 11:47 a.m., this plane loops over Wichita, Kansas. This is interesting to me because one of the Egyptian jets, I believe, either had just left or was, I think it had just left Wichita, Kansas a couple of days before that. I have to go back and look at my timeline. But it loops over. I can't tell if it lands. Don't think it lands. But if it does, it's a very short time period on the ground. And then it leaves Wichita, Kansas. What we're trying to figure out is, why is this plane looping over areas that show up in our investigation? Why does it loop over Colorado Springs? Why does it loop over Wichita, Kansas? Now we get to September 10th. This is where it gets really interesting. The first Egyptian plane, SUBTT, leaves Provo at 7:09 a.m. It's gone. 12 minutes later, N616RK, this same plane up here, leaves Richmond. It's headed to Crestview, Florida, Bob Sykes Airport in Crestview, Florida. About the same time, Delta Zulu, this is Charlie Kirk, is on this plane headed to Salt Lake City. This is the green plane here. About this same time, N560 Tango Whiskey leaves Scottsdale. We believe the official story is that the Y-Refi guy was on this plane headed to Provo, Utah. And then shortly thereafter, this plane lands in Crestview, Florida. I don't know what the FBI was doing, or I don't know what the FBI was doing in Crestview, Florida. That's never been answered. Then Charlie Kirk lands in Salt Lake City. This plane now leaves Crestview, but it doesn't go anywhere. It leaves Crestview. Crestview, by the way, is adjacent to Eglin Air Force Base. If you were going to fly into Eglin Air Force Base, but don't want to land at Eglin Air Force Base, you would land in Crestview. It is like a mile away. It leaves Crestview, gets up in the air, and starts doing these loops. It just flies in the area. There's another Air Force Base, Tyndall Air Force Base over Panama City. This plane just kind of flies over Panama City for, I don't know, half hour or so. And while it's flying over Panama City, two things take place just a couple of minutes over while it's looping. One is this Tango Whiskey plane lands in Provo. This is what we believe is the Y-Refi guy. But the plane that's still in Provo, this is an Egyptian plane that's still in Provo, the transponder comes on. And when the transponder comes on, that tells us the plane's power is on, meaning the communication systems are on. So the FBI plane communication systems are on. The Egyptian plane's communication systems are on. That's when this plane leaves Panama City to go back to Crestview. That's when this plane leaves Provo. We'll talk about where it goes in a second. It leaves Provo. I won't spoil the surprise. It goes to Santa Barbara. The Tango Whiskey leaves Provo to go to Santa Barbara, we believe, to pick up Andrew Colvette. Keep in mind, this is before Charlie Kirk is taken down. So why would a plane be going to Santa Barbara to pick up Andrew Colvett unless there was some knowledge ahead of time? But I can't, it's only speculation. But this transponder comes on, all this stuff happens. The FBI plane lands at Bob Sykes Airport in Crestview, Florida. The Egyptian plane lands in Wilmington, Delaware. And then a half hour later, the transponder goes off, meaning the power has gone off. This plane was on the tarmac outside of Duncan Aviation this entire time from 10:05 to 11:34, but it was powered up. Transponder was on. The communication systems were on. There's some other planes on here I'm not going to talk about. Tango Whiskey lands in Santa Barbara at 12:11. Then you have the big bang 12 minutes later, and 10 minutes later, it's off the ground from Santa Barbara headed to Scottsdale. Again, if Andrew was on this plane, there's your relevance. There's your relevance. In 616RK, the FBI plane leaves Crestview. At 1:40, the Egyptian plane that's on the tarmac in Provo, its transponder comes back on. A series of very important things happen right after this. This would be your exfiltration stage if there was some sort of large event to take out Charlie Kirk. If there was some sort of conspiracy, this 1:40 to 2:30 period right here would be very important. Because at 1:40, the transponder comes on, meaning the power of the plane is on. It hasn't moved. It hasn't left. It's just powered up. All the communication systems are available. That's when Tango Whiskey lands in Scottsdale. I believe that had, my opinion, that had Andrew Colvett on it. Delta Zulu lands in Scottsdale. That's a repositioning flight to go pick up Erika Kirk and potentially Andrew as well, but maybe just Erika Kirk. This N-40JD lands in Provo. We're not really talking about that tonight. Axel 10, this is your spy plane, lands in El Paso. This is the one that did the 2 passes over the Charlie Kirk event. And then at that time, when this plane lands, this Axel 10 plane lands, that's when the transponder goes off on the Egyptian plane that's on the tarmac in Provo. So that's when your communication systems would be shut down. Now, so that's the day of. That's the day of. I know that's a little confusing. That's why we've colored this and everything else. If you want to screenshot it, look at it, look it up, double check our math. I think we're right on all this. Now, the following day, one of the FBI planes leaves the Washington, D.C. area, and 13 minutes later, the Egyptian plane leaves Wilmington, Delaware, headed to Egypt. This was the plane that left the morning before Charlie Kirk was taken out. Left Provo to go to Wilmington, stayed overnight in Wilmington, and at 5:52 a.m., it leaves Wilmington. 13 minutes before that, this plane leaves Manassas, Virginia. This blue plane, this has cash on it, I'm almost sure, because it goes to Hanscom, then it goes to LaGuardia. Cash was at a 9/11 memorial in New York City. And then it left LaGuardia to go to Provo and cash in Bongina. I believe we're on that plane. But I want to scroll down to here because this SUB&D, now we're still on the tarmac in Provo. This plane has not moved. This Egyptian plane has not moved. It fires back up at 12:48 p.m. the following day. September 11th. Tyler Robinson has not been turned in yet. The manhunt is on. People are moving all over the country. When this transponder comes on, shortly after that, Kash Patel's plane leaves LaGuardia headed for Provo. The other FBI plane lands in Baltimore, is only there for 31 minutes, leaves Baltimore, and then the transponder goes off. We go later in the evening. Transponder comes back on. It's only on for 22 minutes this time, 7:28 to 7:50. Comes back on. And just while it's back on, the FBI plane leaves Provo. And then the transponder goes back off. So that's the second day. That's the day after. It's the day after. It's noteworthy that Tyler Robinson, we believe, had already turned himself in when this transponder came on. That's noteworthy to me. Now, the next day, September 12th, Transponder on 8:52, stays on until 10:48. While it's on, the FBI plane leaves Provo. Are you seeing a pattern? Every time the transponder comes on, some plane is coming or going, usually an FBI plane. The Egyptian transponder comes on, FBI plane takes off or lands. Then the transponder goes off. Comes on, FBI plane leaves, off. On, FBI plane leaves, off. Then you have an on-off here with no plane that we can tell, that we've been able to track. Don't know what it's doing here. And then the following day, the plane leaves Provo, headed to Paris. That's September 13th. There are a couple of other dates that are interesting to me. September 15th. This plane, this FBI plane landing in Idaho Falls, this is an interesting plane to me. You know who lives in Idaho Falls, or who's based in Idaho Falls, and I believe lives there? That is the doctor, Dr. Lee DuPont Trotter, lives in Idaho Falls. This looks to me, just in my opinion, I can't think of any other reason the FBI plane in the midst of this investigation would be going to Idaho Falls except to talk to Dr. Lee Trotter. Drop somebody off, maybe meet him at the airport, talk for an hour, and then leave. But it tells me it's a conversation that had to be had face-to-face. It's not a conversation that they wanted to have over the phone, not a conversation they wanted to do by email. It was a conversation that somebody wanted to have face-to-face with Dr. Lee DuPont Trotter. That's the way I interpret this. You fly from Washington, D.C. area, Manassas, all the way to Idaho Falls. You're there less than an hour and then all the way back to Manassas. That's a very expensive flight for a 1 hour face-to-face. That's a very important meeting. I don't know what was said at that meeting. I don't even know if it was a meeting with Lee DuPont Trotter, but something very important happened that you would burn a $60,000 or $70,000 fee, maybe $100,000 worth of fees to fly there and back for a 1 hour meeting. A very expensive meeting. The next day, I'm going to correct this because that should be SC. What's interesting about this is this September 18th is this Aiken, South Carolina drop. Aiken, South Carolina is the only place in America where the FBI can evaluate radiological material. Aiken, South Carolina has a dedicated facility where if you have radiological material to be evaluated in connection with a crime, it has to be evaluated by the FBI in Aiken, South Carolina. Now, is that the only thing that takes place in Aiken, South Carolina? No. But I've looked at months and months and months of these planes. They don't typically go to Aiken, South Carolina. They just don't typically go there. So I saw that, and it struck me as noteworthy. This is the most noteworthy one of the post Charlie Kirk, of the post September 12th. This is the most noteworthy trip right here. September 19th. They send the plane back to Idaho Falls. Remember, this is the home of Lee DuPont Trotter, the doctor. Something important happened on September 19th. Something very important happened on September 19th, and believe it or not, it involved Dr. Lee DuPont Trotter. Now, is there a connection between the important thing that happened and this flight? Maybe. I don't know. But I'll suggest to you this was a very important flight. Keep in mind, this is 2 days before Charlie Kirk is buried, 1 day before his private funeral. September 19th. I will tell you what happened. Well, I'll let someone else tell you what happened because I have it down here. Let me pull it up for you. This is what happened on September 19th that, in my opinion, might have warranted a face-to-face flight from the FBI to Idaho Falls. I'll let Candace tell you in her own words.
I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. I don't care about anything right now other than figuring out who killed Charlie Kirk. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will.
I might have cut it a little too close trying to save time. She's talking about the footage from behind. Remember, we were not privy to the footage from behind. Cheryl Farnsworth had grabbed the SD card and they had not released the footage. This is 9 days after it. And a lot of people asked what was on the footage that was so important that he had to go get the SD card. And a lot of people did not know at the time, if you remember, if you transport yourself back to September 19th, a lot of people were unaware whether or not he was shot from behind. Did a bullet go through him? What did it look like from behind? And that's what she's talking about, is that footage.
Get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that and I watched the footage and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see if given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this. I don't know anything about any of this, so I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood.
No blood from the back. The footage from the back revealed no blood. That phone call was on September 19th. But that's when she did her show, September 19th. But Baron, are you saying that Candace talking to Terrell Farnsworth and seeing that video footage prompted an $80,000 to $100,000 airplane flight from Manassas, Virginia to Idaho Falls for a meeting that took 51 minutes and then fly back to Manassas, Virginia? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're telling me? I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know. But I do know this. They were just there 4 days ago. They were there on the 15th. And that's an important date because the autopsy report was due on the 16th. And Lee Trotter, in all likelihood, is going to be a trial witness. I can't imagine how he won't be. One of the two sides will call him for sure. He's a treating physician. How do you have a murder victim? You don't call the treating physician? You have to. You have to. And if Lee Trotter walks in, you want to know what he's going to say. And if you're going to, if his testimony is going to in any way impact what is in the autopsy report that is created the following day, September 16th, you want to make sure you know what it is he thinks. You might fly to Idaho Falls and ask him. Put a tape recorder in front of him. And then if Candace sees footage that you did not expect to be released to the public, we haven't seen any of the other TPUSA camera footage. There were 3 or 4 different TPUSA camera footage recording in ultra high definition right in front of him, like feet away from him. We've not seen any of those. Those would be incredibly informative. We're looking at cell phone footage where the frames are all blurred together. Those cameras would tell us precisely what happened under that T-shirt. Precisely what happened to his neck. Precisely what happened. We've not been privy to those. We've not seen those. You want to convince us it's a gunshot? That'd be the way to do it. That camera that was off to his front left right there with the girl who did this and looked back under the hood, that would be the one to show me. I will come on here right now and say, gunshot. That's a gunshot. I saw it. My own 2 peepers. But I do know that after Candace saw that footage, she said they freaked out. Like they freaked out. They started calling the doctor. The FBI freaked out. This is the day they're burying Charlie, September 20th. And they're all panicked because she saw the footage the day before. I would think that might warrant a flight from the FBI to the doctor. What did you show her? What is it? Show me what it looks like. Let me see it. What did she say? What did you talk about? And the important thing was they wanted to know if she recorded it. And that was very fascinating to me. They wanted to know if she recorded the phone call. Because if she recorded it, they can't lie about what was said or what was seen. If she didn't record it, they'll just call her crazy. They'll call her demonic. They'll say she's having dreams, you know. But if she recorded it, now we got to go with what was said. What was said. That's an interesting flight to me. A very interesting flight to me because the autopsy report was already done September 16th. What more can the doctor say at that point? That the case is over. Case is over at that point. There are a few more flights on here. I'm not going to go over them, but mostly it was them going back and forth to Aiken, South Carolina on September 23 and 29. I'm very intrigued by this Aiken, South Carolina angle because I never once imagined any radiological component whatsoever in this case. I still don't know if that's what they were doing there, but it never dawned on me that there would be any radiological connection whatsoever to this case, but for those trips to Aiken. And now it's got my brain spinning. Like, could there have been, I don't know. That's where they have to examine stuff that's radiological in nature, in origin. They do that at Aiken, South Carolina. So I have a couple more fun things on here. I might save them for Sunday. Actually, I'm going to do one of them right here. Do one, and then I'll save the other for Sunday. This is a Trump Truth Social post. I'm going to read it only because I had no idea this was happening. We've all heard about the Ballroom, right? You know the Ballroom's being built under the White House or next to the White House. And there's been all this speculation. Oh, they're building a data center under there. They're building a nuclear reactor. I've heard everything under there. But now we got some indication today for the first time of what's actually going on. This is him ranting because some judges put the brakes on the Ballroom. And I know this is small, but I can't make it any bigger because he's ranting like a lunatic. But here's what he says is in the Ballroom. Leaders would have a safe and secure large-scale meeting place or ballroom, one with bomb shelters, state-of-the-art hospital and medical facilities, protective partitioning, top-secret military installations, structures, and equipment, protective missile-resistant steel columns, roofs, and beams, drone-proof ceilings and roofs, military-grade venting, and bullet, ballistic, and blast-proof glass. That is what is going in the Ballroom. I saw that and I thought, what do they know that we don't know? What is coming? What are they waiting on? It's the same question I have when these billionaires are building underground bunkers. What do you see? What do you know that I don't know? I don't have an underground bunker. I'm just a plebe. I don't even have a basement. I'm toast. I mean, if something flattens, I'm just done. I'm done for. So I worry about this. I worry about what's going on. I worry about what these elites are planning and doing. I don't want to spend any more time on that because we're already running behind. But so what did we learn today? One, we learned that this show is ahead of the news. Like we are ahead of the news. We told you yesterday that that Erika Kirk, in all likelihood, was in Georgia. That was my opinion, and I think that's been borne out by now. I think it's pretty confident she was in Georgia. If she was in Georgia, there was no travel fears. That was a lie. If she was in Georgia, there was no security threat because she was in the safest place on earth. The Vice President of the United States was there. She had to travel home anyway, so that obviously no travel fear there. They let her on the plane, didn't they? So if she was in Georgia, and I believe she was, everything they told us yesterday was a lie. It was a gaslight. This goes back to yesterday's opening. They were gaslighting us. Then we learn that they hit us with the limited hangout. Boy, our openings are on point this week. Then they hit us with the limited hangout. Well, she's a little embarrassed over the Drewski skit. Yeah, I bet. She just, doggone it, people just don't understand her. Nope, you're lying. This is a modified limited hangout. You're including lies. It wasn't just security. Nope, now you're lying. It wasn't security at all. This is a true modified limited hangout. They said all that to say Drewski was the reason she couldn't go on stage. Drewski was the reason no college students would show up. No one wants to show up to watch a clown. And Drewski made her a clown. He just did. College students want to waste their time in watching cool people. They go to cool concerts. They want to see Taylor Swift. They want to see Morgan Wallen. They want to see I don't know who's some of the big acts though. Justin Bieber, is he still big? I don't know. I'm so pop culture, not good at pop culture. But they want to see like cool people. They want to see rock stars. They don't want to see people that are jokes. And she's become a joke. She's become a joke from her own behavior, her own inability to stay home and be a mom and raise her kids. Her incessant desire to be famous. She was a cleat chaser. She tried to get on reality TV shows. She tried to hang around famous people like ball players. She tried to do the big Manhattan, New York life. Oh, I got to go back to Manhattan, you know. She just wanted to be famous so badly. She tried music videos. She tried pageants. She's the ultimate pick-me girl. Oh, God, please pick me, please pick me. No one would pick her. She ended up with a 6'5" autistic kid. No offense, Charlie was great, but I mean, that's who he was. And he built up an empire that then she inherited. She finally made it, and she couldn't control herself. That's my opinion. She couldn't control herself. She got out there and just blew it. This was her big break. Can you imagine getting your big break? You know, you've been toiling in the minor leagues for like 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. You finally get called up to the big leagues, the show. And you get out there and you like get in a fight with the umpire or something, right? And you like spit on him. I mean, you're done. That's basically what she did. She fought the umpire and spit on him. That's the equivalent of what she did. For our international audience, you've been playing in lower level soccer club ball, trying to get noticed. Someone at La Liga finally recognizes you. Bundesliga, the English Premier League. They want to call you up. They sign you to a contract. You get out there. You're starting. You're the starting, I don't even know what the positions are in a soccer field. Halfback, midfielder, whatever they are. The guy in the middle of the field. You're the starting guy. You're the star. They're putting the whole hopes of the club on you. And you run over and you kick the referee in the nards. He throws you a yellow card. You kick him in the nards. Red card, you're out of here. And then the league comes down. They suspend you for life. That's the equivalent of what she did. She had the big break and she acted like a lunatic. She dressed like a lunatic. She spoke like a lunatic. Her eyes looked like a lunatic. She could not stay away from the spotlight, and she ruined her big break. It's unfortunate, but it is, in fact, reality. But they want to make it like, oh, she's just so torn up by it. No, she's not. I mean, she might be torn up that she missed her big break. But in the meantime, she's out here like launching a war on people, sending legal letters to Project Constitution. Really? Really, Colin? You're sending legal letters to Colin? That's the fight you want to pick? Really? You don't fight when you're the head of a massive organization. You do not pick fights with small X posters. I mean, that's it. You blew it. You blew it. Instead of courting Candace, instead of including Candace, instead of sharing information with Candace, instead of being transparent, you guys are out here leaking stuff, trying to make her look bad through Gary. Gary. And House Inhabit, who's probably most famous for wearing a free Ghislaine shirt. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what she's most famous for. She wore a free Ghislaine shirt. A girl who had a blog about home improvement. You don't go right to Candace and say, what do you need? Well, I'd love to share all our information with you. I see you're doing an investigation. What is it you're looking for? Happy to share everything. Oh, where was I on this date? Here, let me get my calendar out. You can look with me. I'll show my Google Maps. We'll look at, what is it you want to know? Oh, okay. Well, here's where I was. There you go. I don't think there are any notifications you guys can't see there. No, just X notifications. But that's what she did. She blew it. She kicked the ref in the nards. That's what she did. And so we learned they gave us a limited hangout. They mixed falsehood and omission with a layer of truth. She's humiliated. No one wants to show up and see her. The organization is sputtering. They might be doing all the behind the scenes stuff and, moving money around and endorsing candidates and all that. That might all be going swimmingly. But if you can't draw but 1,200 people to see the CEO and the vice president, you're in trouble. You're in huge trouble. How long is that gravy train going to last? You're certainly not out there influencing college kids. You're turning them off. I honestly, right now, I don't know this. I haven't seen this, but I bet if Gallup or Rasmussen or Signal or one of these big polling companies, I bet if they ran a poll right now, I mentioned Signal because my buddy Brent Buchanan runs it, but shameless plug to keep it in the family. Use Signal for all your polling needs. This is not a promotion, but if you ran a poll right now among college kids and you asked for Erika Kirk's name ID and favorable, unfavorable, I bet it would be horrific. And I bet if you ran the same poll to a different sample, so you're not asking the same kids, but a different, equally scientific sample, and you did a name ID favorable, unfavorable of Charlie Kirk, it would be astronomical. And therein lies the problem. That organization exists to reach out to college kids. And they are, in fact, toxic right now. Toxic. I hope what we saw was the beginning of the board reining her in. Either hand off the reins and let Justin Strife or Tyler Boyer run it, or we'll bring in some outsider to run it. But you need to go home. You need to hang out with your kids. You need to learn to like them. Be a mom. I don't know if you do or not. Shouldn't have said that. It's not a knock on her for not liking her kids. I don't know if she does. But you need to stay home with them. Like you are probably worth $50 or $100 million by now. Just go. Go be rich. You can still fly on Gulfstreams. You can still wear obnoxious jewelry. You can still wear too much makeup. You can still, fry your hair blonde. You can do all that stuff. But you can't do it at our headquarters anymore. We're not letting you in public as a representative of this organization. Go be rich. I mean, a lot of people are rich. They make a good life. They have fun. You can still go to Mar-a-Lago. You can still hang out with Don Jr. But you can't do it here. You ain't got to go home. But you can't stay here. But you should go home because that's the right thing to do. So we learned that. We learned that they are hiding evidence of when Tyler Robinson showed up at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. If their story was true, why wouldn't you just show us the tape? Just show us the tape. You said he showed up at 10 p.m. Show us him walking in at 10 p.m. Why is that hard? Well, you won't, though. You won't, though. In all likelihood, in my opinion, you won't because he was there before 6:30. So you can't show that footage. And we learned the bullet jacket fragment actually, I think, tends to go towards reasonable doubt in favor of Tyler Robinson not being the one who fired the fatal shot from the top of the Losi Center. The bullet jacket fragments are just a full metal jacket or just a jacketed, could be a jacketed hollow point or something, but it's a full round. It's a full round that had a jacket, a metal jacket on it. And that would have gone right through his neck. And as you heard from Candace a moment ago, it did not. It did not. Which means that's not what it was. Don't know what it was, but that's not what it was. So we've learned that things. We've learned those things tonight. We've learned those things. And finally, the last thing we learned was the Jenna flights, the DOJ flights. They have a very interesting pattern of landing and leaving in between Egyptian plane transponders coming on and going off on the Provo tarmac. Transponder comes on, DOJ flight leaves or lands. Transponder goes off. Transponder comes on, DOJ flight leaves or lands. Transponder goes off. Transponder comes on, DOJ flight lands or leaves. Transponder goes off. And it did overlap some of the private planes as well, but those DOJ planes, man, they that's the one that keeps me up the last few nights. I've not slept well. That really kept me up the last few nights. I did not want to do this story. I kept booting it. I didn't even want to tell Casey and Daisy why I didn't want to do this story. But we kept putting it on the run, and I said, well, I just put it at the end of the run. I'll get to it if I have time. And then I would make sure I didn't have time to get to it. But it's Thursday. I'm not going to be back for a couple of days, so I figured today's the day. We do have a master timeline that we're working from that has much more information on it. And eventually we'll get it to a place where we can show that whole master timeline with all the events. And I think it would be very difficult to look at that and be a Fed slopper, in my opinion. In my opinion. All right, so that's what we learned today. The other thing we learned is I love communing with you through the Q&A at the end of every show. So I'm going to do that now. But first, I want you to like the video right now. Where are we on likes? Are we in a good spot? Don't make me shame you. I have to shame you. This is unacceptable. Go click the like button. While you're there, you might as well subscribe. I think we're at 270-ish thousand subscribers now. We're on the march to 300,000. Don't be the last one there. Don't get left in the dust. We're at 271,000 and change. So don't get left in the dust. Go ahead and subscribe. Click the notification button. Member show tomorrow. If you're not a member, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. For those of you who are not the biggest Jesse fans, maybe you'll become a bigger fan. I'm a fan, even though I don't agree with everything he says. I think he's a good broadcaster. For those of you who are big Jesse fans, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. We're going to have a good time. All right. Is Mrs. Coleman a doula? What made you ask that question? Do you know her? We have to plan vacations a year ahead. Husband and I watched In the Bedroom last night. Oh, great movie. Difficult movie for those of us who have lost a child. Had to watch Seinfeld to recover. Oh, you're a doula. That's why you asked. Yes, she is, in fact. She is, in fact. Mrs. Coleman is a doula. We actually have a child due any day. We are on child birth watch here at the Coleman household. Not one of ours. Not one of ours. But yeah, good call, doula. I don't know how you figured that out. I must have said something. But thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Oh, you lost a child? Oh gosh, I bet it was. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it for everybody. Had to watch Seinfeld to recover. It's an intense movie. I keep telling people that. It is a very intense movie. Bear, my neighbor went to lunch with Tyler Robinson's dad. Tyler's dad said his son did it, but many people were involved. If so, let's get some names on the record. You know, like you for one. That'll be interesting. It's a data point. I don't put a lot of weight in anonymous double hearsay data points. But thank you for sharing that. It's certainly a data point. Hi, Baron. Today's Tyler's birthday. I can't imagine how he's feeling. If he knew we are fighting for truth, possibly resulting is in his exoneration, I'm guessing he'd feel much better. Much love from Iowa, Hawkeye country, or maybe Cyclone country. Not sure which way you lean there. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, Christ is king indeed. Again, I don't know if exoneration's on the table for him. You know, the story I've heard from the family through, again, second, third-hand sources is that they're that not guilty, depending on how they charge it, may not be an available option. But the question is, did he pull the trigger of a 30-06 from the roof of the Losi Center, or any weapon from the roof of the Losi Center? That is the question, and that is what I am doubtful of. Again, open to being wrong, but as I sit here now, I'm doubtful. Baron, thanks for sharing how to get a perfect rice. I tried it and mine was perfect tonight. I bet it was. You can't fail it. You give the jury and grand jury a well-rounded, high IQ information every show. Thank you. Even cooking tips. Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed that rice recipe, it's money. You could sell that rice. It's perfect. Did you get the curl? That's what I want to know. You get that curl at the top? That's when you know it's perfect. During lunch the other day with friends, I said, "Oh, bull butter." Wish I'd caught their expressions. Clearly not a Northeast PA phrase, but I love it. I don't think it's an anywhere phrase. I stole that from my 9th grade physical science teacher, Coach Polly. Coach Polly was a great teacher. Very good teacher. Very good teacher. And he said bull butter one time, and it stuck deep in my brain. I hit the like button. I commented, "I'm helping. God bless you and the work you do, Baron. Thank you. Christ is king indeed." Christ is king indeed. Indeed. Your thoughts on Andrew Colvett in 910? He seemed helpful in the beginning by sending the Fed's CK's texts, but now he's ladling out the Fed slop, who at TPUSA knew prior and was only complicit after. Oh, well, I knew the answer to that question. I don't know. My thoughts on Andrew in 910. It really comes down to what flight he was on. For me, if I was on an earlier flight and if I was on the later flight and people were thinking I was on the earlier flight, and the implication of me being on the earlier flight is that I was involved in my boss's homicide, I'd be proving it, and I wouldn't be proving it through a blogger that does home improvement. That's just me. I mean, maybe Andrew's different. He's the PR guru, after all. Maybe that's what they teach you at PR school. You need your money back, Andrew, if they did. Does anyone want to take a trip to Antarctica to bring some ice to Erika after today's burn? Oh. They got icebergs. I'm not sure that's enough. I do want to go to Antarctica. I'm fascinated with Antarctica. Think about it. We know that the Siberian region, the tundra, was flash frozen. I mean, I think it's fact by now. The way the animals were just kind of frozen still in time. It was basically flash frozen. The meat is still fresh. As these animals thaw, you could eat the steaks off of these elephants or whatever. So we know that it was fast. Imagine what was trapped under Antarctica. And it's been frozen in time since. I'm fascinated with it. I want to know. I want under the ice. Melt Antarctica for science. It's for science. Trust the science. Trust the science. Melt Antarctica. Melt it. Let's get some hair dryers, some blow torches, whatever we got to do. We got to melt Antarctica. Don't forget that C. There's a C in there. Antarctica. Arctica. Future opening statement about film Lord of War, based on several true international arms dealers. Thoughts? Do you know the film? Very realistic. I do not know the film. I'd have to watch it. When a suspected I haven't done an opening on a film. I've included some film references from films I've watched, but I don't know that I've done a whole opening on a film. When a suspected shooter turns themselves in, is a GSR test standard procedure or no? I don't know. That's just above my pay grade. I do not know the answer to that, particularly when they turn themselves in 36 hours later. I don't know the answer. Brother Barron, your analysis, insight, and broadcasting are absolutely top-notch. Outstanding work. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you for that. Very high praise. EK is the face that launched 1,000 ships. She's stunning. If she was a little more average, not so many men would be thinking with their other place and coming to her defense, covering for her. You think so? Like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I saw one person speculating that she must have purchased the Miss Arizona USA award because, and I'll admit, I watched the final 6 girls get their, they like announce them in reverse order or whatever. I mean, they were spectacular. I mean, she's conventionally attractive. Let me say that. She is conventionally attractive. But I don't see it. I don't see that. I don't know. Maybe it's her personality. Maybe she's got a great personality. Go Max, my friend. Christ is king indeed. Thank you for your hard work and sharing your knowledge. Thank you. Buckle backpack. Quick quack. You did that on purpose. You did that on purpose. Best $2 you ever spent. £2. Excuse me. L-bucks. Convinced this is a shared RBP jury experience. Post a super. Wait for B to agree. Comment or just stare and say, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. That's great. Eric had a family member in the Aurora, Colorado theater shooting. Not a family member, a close friend. Of course, that family member survived. Do you know who it was? Just because the article I saw her quoted in said, or the social media post I said a close friend. Mr. Marks being from Colorado made me think of that. Ooh. Very interesting point. Very interesting point. I hadn't thought of that, but I think it was a friend, and I don't know whether that friend survived because I don't know which one it was. You literally changed my life with that gaslight opening yesterday. Sat there with my mouth agape the whole time. Life-changing, Baron. Thank you. Deep state of mind. That's why we do the show. Life-changing experience every time you tune in. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. It's good feedback. Wilst, where are you from? Oh, Australia. Oh, good day, mate. Wilst, I can't stand EK. I do sometimes wonder how CK would feel about the online mockery. He did love her, after all. Yeah, but he's an honest actor. I don't know. I think he would probably be saying, "Why are you doing this? Go home. This is why I don't want you out there. Go home. Go home." Happy birthday, Tyler Robinson. Innocent until proven guilty. Thank you for everything you do to seek the truth. I did not know this was his birthday. Thanks for sharing that, guys. Anytime someone says Israel is our only friend in the Middle East, I can't help but think before our greatest ally, we had no enemies in the Middle East. U.S. missionary John Sheehan. I agree. I've made that point many times. We weren't actively fighting over there prior to 48. Hello, our humble host. More false flag content, please. Worried they'll try to vilify those asking questions regarding TPUSA. More USA dark history. Christ is king. I agree with you. B. Ron, that blue jacket with black pants left me no choice but to Brandon, the pro AK cause. Yeah? It took that long? You were still on the train? Or like Charlie, you spent years doubting and then you finally had to throw in the towel. Yeah. Black pants and a blue blazer. Guarantee you he was as humiliated as I was watching him. I must know, what do you have against Jasmine rice? It just doesn't cook right to me. I don't have anything wrong with it. When other people cook it, it's fine. But man, there's something about basmati. It's like nutty and buttery tasting. It's amazing. Love basmati. I had some today. Had some this morning. Love basmati rice. I have nothing interesting to say. That's not true. What's your name? Delana? That's not true, Delana. Just catching up after a work stretch. One of my husband's new hobbies is guessing what color hoodie you'll be wearing. Thanks for all you do and your wife. Thanks for all you and your wife do for those of us who love the truth and justice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. But don't discount yourself. That was valuable input, and thank you for that kind contribution. Amber, thank you. My favorite time of the day, watched in the bedroom. Amazing movie. You guys are loving it. I'm serious. When they get their royalty checks next month, they're going to be like, what the hell happened last month? Why is everybody watching? The movie was 30 years old. 20. As the mom of an only child, a son, the treehouse scene had me ugly crying. Great movie. Yes, it's intense. Very well-made movie. Victor Mark's story is extremely close to A Criminal Minds, Season 5, Episode 2, Haunted, aired on 9/30/09 on CBS. Even the smear on his face. It aired 3 years before Marks released his story. I'm going to have to look that up. Hold, please. This I have to see. Let me look. What? Hold on. I got something popped up. Season 5, Episode 2, Haunted. Season 5, Episode 2. Oh, no, not Season 4. Season 5, Episode 2, Haunted. And what was it? Criminal Minds? I bet my wife has seen it. She's watched Criminal Minds so much, I thought she was planning to, take me out. I got a little worried. What are you doing? That and forensic something. I was like, what? Should I sleep with one eye open? Clutching my pillow tight? Gripping my pillow tight? And that always bothered me because that should be tightly. Gripping your pillow tightly. Tight is an adverb there, and it's inappropriate. You're trying to use the adjective form of tight for an adverb. It doesn't work. You grip your pillow tightly. My sister and I, being high IQ accountants, wore our high IQ outfit crew necks to the office for the last day of tax season. Christ is king. I bet everyone was jealous. You were in a high IQ outfit. Baron, I know who ate the cookies. Baron, kid. Okay, it was me. When you repeat a sentence, you mean business. I'm here for it. Keep going, Max. Love your show. I also repeat myself with them because repetition is the key to understanding. There must be a gaslight queen award at TPUSA as both Colvette and Neff were off the rails with their ex-posts. Tangentially, I'd like to see a here is your opening statement hoodie. Yeah. So there was actually, I'll do it Sunday. I'm going to do it Sunday. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I have something I intend to cover Sunday. Actually, Yeah, I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it Sunday night. I'm going to lead with that, I think. But it has to do with what you just said about Corvette and Neff being off the rails. Baron, pray thee, forgive me thy hast a commitment, and shan't be present for the commencement of thou'st discourse with Jesse. Alas, I'm going to be late, my B. Hey. Sounds accurate. You know, mixture of highbrow prose and hip-hop slang. Hi, on yesterday's show at 1:20, you said an important statement that we don't know where EK was in the couple of days leading up to when her husband was assassinated. Thought that would seem to mean that the Fort Huachuca no, she hasn't told us where she was. We know where she was. She hasn't told us where she was. Don't read into too much what I'm saying. Baron, you're killing it. So thankful for you. Thankful for you, Avery. Thankful for you. When you wondered last night what EK may have worn to the event in Georgia, I laughed out loud at my son's baseball game. Oops. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I have been known to watch a podcast or two at a baseball game. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Long time, first time. Love your podcast. Highest IQ show in the realm. P.S. Comic Sans is the highest IQ font. Don't change it. That's not Comic Sans. I can't remember the name of it, but it's not Comic Sans. It's one that looks like it. But if you pull up the letters and compare, it's not Comic Sans. Daisy told me one time what the font was, and I can't remember. Erika Kirk is the Republican version of Kamala Harris. Don't insult Kamala Harris like that. Come on. Helga Shabalaba Dinga Donga. Sweet Baron. Mugs arrived. Packaged beautifully. Great job. I didn't do it. Thanks, Shopify. Looking forward to your trip to Orem. I asked my wealthy boss to send $150,000 to talk TP in August. He did. Sick about that. Refund, please. Yeah. $150,000. Did you get anything out of it? Like a meeting? Man, that's a lot of money. $100,000 or like 150,000 pennies? Even that would be a lot of money. We're blessed the day when you, your wife, your sister, and Daisy stepped into the arena. Thank you to your wife and children for allowing the time sacrifices for their dad to fight for truth. Yeah, it is a sacrifice because I'm missing a lot in the evenings. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Thank you. Maybe when EK showed up, they were playing The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Funny. By the looks of the auditorium, Georgia's response was, get on, get. Get on, get. But Baron, has your sister updated you regarding Karen Reed? Why it is similar to TR court case? Reports by experts, authorities helping the cover up. Christ is king indeed. She is not. She just was shocked. I'd never heard of her. Buchel up for Baron's battle bun breakdown. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. But buckle would have worked better there. Buckle up. Buchel just doesn't sound right there. Brilliant, Baron. You are always one step ahead. Thank you for the education. It's a habit. It's a nasty habit, but it's a habit. I've had it for years. Find myself grinning like an idiot when you drop your priceless remarks. Okay. Hope you're not around anyone. Hi, Baron. I was late to get my message to you yesterday before the show ended. Brian got me watching y'all. Good, Rose. Now I watch it more and look forward to y'all shows. Much love to the king and queen. Blessing and Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Blake Neef is a limited hangout personified. Yeah, the only thing hanging out of Blake Neff is his muffin top. Cut back on the carbs, Blake. Go back on the carbs. No, he's fine. He's fighting for his life. Not his life, his career. He's unhireable anywhere else. He was lucky to get this job. He's loyal. There are worse qualities to have. Please explain how a Mauser was ATF claim, but the other tests inconclusive. Yet no hit behind CK. Please clarify my confusion. Guys in car maybe put lead in neck. Intentional planting. Well, yeah, that's them or the FBI when they wouldn't let the doctor back in the room. I mean, it could have been anybody. The problem is the chain of custody at that point. King Coleman. Could both white RAV4s from traffic that got stopped by an officer and was then let go as the driver showed FBI badge, and one from the shopping center behind TRs had been the same one? No, because the one behind the shopping center I don't believe was a RAV4. I think it was a Lexus RS or RX 350, something like that. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Either she's been living in a very insulated, well-insulated bubble, or this is less new realization and more public acknowledgement now that it's unavoidable. I wonder to what extent. Thank you for that. This allows me to say what I wanted to say and didn't have the words to say it. I wonder to what extent, either on the airplane or backstage, somebody was like, hey, about the way you've been acting, you got to chill out. And it just hurt her feelings, or like she went crazy. Like, I'm not going to do it if you don't want me. You don't want me on my worst day. You can't have me on my best day. You know, those people say that. Anyone tells you that, watch out. You move on to the next one. Anyone who's like, if you can't handle me on my worst day, you can't have me on my best day. Okay. Next. Move along. I wonder if it was that kind of a thing. I've thought that she showed up and maybe she was wearing something. They're like, hey, you can't go out on stage. What are you talking about? These are my black leather morning pants. I don't know. Praise be Jesus and Mary. Baronic. Greetings from Croatia. Almost 2 a.m. here. Watching this unravel is like watching Santa Barbara during the 1990s. You talking about the TV show Santa Barbara? Hey, we're huge in the Balkans. Evidence right here, ladies and gentlemen. Evidence right here. We are huge in the Balkans. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, but thank you. Quick quack, patty whack, give a dog a bone. I want to know about that quick quack. Why? If he acted alone, why is he going to the quick quack? Big in the Balkans. You're also massive down under. Well, that's what they say. Oh, Babaron, pun intended. Oh, of course. What's planned for your centenary of high IQ episodes? Oh, that's Sunday, isn't it? Yeah. We'll roll out a good show. It'll be a banger. I haven't thought. Maybe we'll do something special. I haven't thought about it. I don't know. I'm not a big like. I wish I was, because those people look like they have a lot of fun. But I'm not like a big like celebrate me guy. Just a friendly reminder that RBP were huge in the Balkans shirt would get my money. Yes, I know. It's on the way. I think Cabot Phillips was first attempt they made at steering CK or separating CK and CO. He worked at TP and then ended up at the Daily Wire in Tennessee around the same time Candace Owens did. Not a coincidence. He was at the same event as her last weekend, IMO. I think she was just at a playground, wasn't she? I don't know the story precisely, but I think she was just at a playground. I don't think there was any big conspiracy there. Oh, no, you're talking to me all wrong if that's the tone. Haha, I clocked it. The Joe Dirt reference. I couldn't type the rest. It wouldn't let me. Joe Dirt was an underrated movie. I'll give you that. Underrated movie. Pretty sure her hair is real. She's going to sue. No, it's not. The hair may be real. The color is not. Skin tone doesn't match. I can spot that from a mile away. That is fried. Glitter fit. All I see is rusted disco ball. Oh, gosh. You guys are harsh. Please add fleet. No more battle buns on men. Oh, maybe that's what I'll do for my 100th episode. If I get the ad fleet opening ready in time. It's a banger. The music, I think, is done. The rest of it's got to be put together, but it's a banger. I listen to it like 10 times a day. You'll be bumping before I get on. It's got some bass to it, too. Nice. Thought she was too busy working on the kingdom and didn't look at social media for previous interviews with her. Yeah. She also said she graduated summa cum laude. Remember when 50 Cent bought out 200 front row seats at Ja Rule's concert? That's what the Georgia folks did. They signed up to attend to inflate the numbers and then didn't go. Quiet protest. We will see again. Well, that's the rumor, but I don't know that that's true. So now we're going to have to hear the feel sorry for me act. Yeah. Totally narcissistic. Yeah, I had to do an opening on narcissism. I was widowed at 19 years old. Wow, that's young. Even being immature at 19, I never acted like her. She doesn't get a pass from me. I've been there, done that. Christ is king indeed. I've always said the people that are hardest on her are the ones who've lost a husband young. Like if you're under 50 and lost a husband, particularly if you have small children at home, I mean, they just don't, they have no mercy. Those people have no mercy. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Did it hurt? 1, telling your kids daddy will never come home. 2, your daughter's daddy won't walk her down the aisle. 3, his son will never play catch with dad, but it hurts now because it affects you. Wow, shaking my head. Oh, I see. You're saying she's more hurt by that than she was the rest because she was able. This is a good point. It's a tough point, but a good point. She was able to go out and perform days after her husband died in glitter and fireworks and all that, white suits. She was able to go out with that. But when people don't like her, she can't go out. That's an interesting point. It's a very devastating point, but an interesting point. Erika saw there's no one at the event in Georgia and tells JD, Shabbat Shalom, I'm just going home. Yeah, but I think she stayed because I saw when the plane left. I don't think she just went home. CBS Atlanta article dated April 15. Secret Service determines no credible threats to UGA rally after Erika Kirk's cancellation. Source says, last line reads, Kirk is not expected to appear at any of the later rallies. I see. I don't think she was scheduled to appear at those. So to be fair to Erika, I don't think she was scheduled to appear at those. But there was never a threat. Sorry. It's my opinion, but there's no threat. Certainly not once she was on the ground. If there's a threat, she's just gone home. I'm not Christian, but the disgust I feel towards these people who quote scripture and the Bible in defense of violence to gaslight people is something else. And what? Oh, no. PIME3E, what? I agree with you, but spot on Ben Shapiro impersonation. I thought so. Did you call the Drewski reason, or did they get the idea of using that excuse from your show yesterday? I still haven't thought about that. I don't know which. I can just picture PR watching your live and getting that light bulb moment look followed by, yes, we can blame Drewski. Yeah, I thought about that. Admittedly, I thought about it. I offered to work for him. The offer stands. If you'd like me to come work for you, I will. It'll cost you, but you'll be better for it. It's been a long week. A minute with Ben is exactly what I need. Never thought I'd say that well. I'm glad to have helped. Worth remembering, Vance just brokered a ceasefire with Iran. The tiny horses and their families, familiars, are ticked with Vance right now. Yeah, that could have been it too. Boise Jet guy, he's back. I'm spending my membership milestone to beg, please make Shapiro stop making noises on his show. I'd rather quit my ears with a hot fire poker. Q-tip my ears with a hot fire poker. I don't watch him enough to know. Did he make noises during that minute? Thanks for all you're doing, Baron. Have enjoyed you since the Google Trends revelations. You've been around a long time, Kimberly. I think Ben Shapiro actually said, I think this is not a moral calculation, just for context. Okay. Duly noted. But Baron, how about a Drewski, Candace, Barron, and Coach College Tour 2026? It'd be a load of fun, but a lot of travel involved. I don't like to travel. Hey, B, interested to see the turnout for the TPUSA event tomorrow with Trump. Do you think America will send a message and boycott the event? Thank you for all your insight and truth. Christ is king. Now, was Erika supposed to be at that? September 17th? September 17th. Donald Trump, TPUSA. Let's see here. Who's supposed to be at this event? Build the red. Oh, it says Erika Kirk. We'll see if she's there. Maybe the threats have ceased. Hopefully. Christ is king indeed. I remember the iPad and MacBook at house. If TR have iPhone, LT could have been texting himself from those devices, explaining the two styles of writing, maybe. Yeah, could be. Dear counselor, please explain why there's a greater concern for the evidence being held. Why isn't The defense up in arms, demanding everything they have. Well, we don't know whether they have it. So it would be a Brady violation to withhold that from them. I think if it shows that he was in custody before 6:25 p.m., it would be a Brady violation to withhold it. However, you got to consider the defense referenced a video of him. So they obviously have video. If I'm right, and that video comes from Washington County at 6:25, they already have him there. But that would go towards exoneration because he supposedly confessed after that. So I think you're right, but there's context to your question. Thank you, Edge. Problem with showing Tyler walking in the police station is it will contradict their timeline. It's all about the 33-hour timeline. I agree. I assume you listened to that entire recording of the CNBC appeal. What is your take on why Tyler's defense is also opposed to having it released? I find that very odd. The same reason they don't want cameras in the courtroom. Same reason they're irritated, and well, I'll cover this Sunday. I'll cover it Sunday. How about that? I don't want to do a whole segment right now. OMG, the eyebrows and nanny boo boo. Yeah, hit them with the nanny boo boo. Real question: do we give them too much info where they can work themselves out of more situations? Truth is key, but definitely a con. Truth is never a con. Also, yes, you can use Christ and King Indeed for merch if I can get the first and my handle is part of my name. Thank you, Hannah Banana. I like that. Christ is King Indeed. We're going to work on that. That's on the next round. Nurse Casey, if you're watching, that's the next round. Christ is King Indeed. I like that. Maybe we'll just say CIK Indeed. It'll be awesome no matter what it is. Daily Wire did the first question? I don't know. I just want to bring the truth, Daily Wire did a record request and got docs. Oh, yeah. They're on the right side of history, I guess. Also, Baron in text to lover, TR said no serial number. Yeah, I mentioned that. I said I thought he said there's no serial number. Actually, he said it, though, in kind of an inquisitive way. I don't think there's a serial number. Shouldn't trace back to me. I think he said, if so, it won't trace back to me, something like that. They didn't know Granddad was going to be watching. Our government is completely compromised by our greatest ally. Yeah. And the new videos released of Tyler Robinson jumping off the roof, are there new ones? Those aren't new. Those have been around forever. Then him walking down the street with a limp. I now believe the limp is an injury to his leg from jumping off the roof. We need a shadow test on the limp. They are saying AM, I believe PM. We did one, and it seemed to line up with 11:50-ish, 11:45-ish, I think, AM. I don't know. Thank you. Saw a video of Charlie say Erika do a great job on stage after being asked what would happen if he died, not the appointed line. Anyone else? Feels like I'm taking crazy pills because I can't find it now. I have not seen that. I don't know if you're taking crazy pills or not, Deanne. Sounds crazy. No offense, but it sounds crazy. Thanks for the needed laughter on eyebrow and every discovery for Charlie. You are one true attorney sent by God with Candace. Gratitude from the Netherlands, home of Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen from the Netherlands. I used to, I don't hear anymore. I used to hear your national anthem all the time. Whenever he won a race, they'd play the national anthem. It was like 10, 15 times a year. Let me check something here. I haven't said hello to the grumblers, but I haven't gotten to them yet. Are they upset? Are you grumblers behaving over there? Don't make me come over there. I'll treat you like my kids. Don't make me come upstairs. You do not want me to come upstairs. Good evening, grumblers. Good evening. Please Google Sam the Eagle from the Muppets and Disgust. Found you through Candace Owens. Truth will always out bless you and your family from Cork, Ireland. Cork, Ireland. I didn't know there was such a place. Eagle from the Muppets. Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. Sam the Eagle, Muppet character. What am I looking at? Oh, Ben Shapiro? Now that's anti-semantic. That's just anti-semantic. Oh, that's funny. Just wanted to note that a 30-06 round is about 3 inches long. It would have had to come out the back just to disappear from the front. The round itself is not. With the cartridge it is, but the round itself is not. No, I have the rumble. As long as the first one is from M. Weedman, I have the grumblers, Daisy. I think I have them all. Yeah, so the round is like this long. 6 inches, girls. The round is about this long, but the bullet itself is only like that much of it. Yayish. And 3/10 of an inch around, sideways, which is where the 30 comes from. 30.30 inches. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. Mountains east of Orem, black sunrise for over an hour, no shadows. Yeah, but it was over an hour after the sunrise when he went by. Make shredded beef tacos for dinner. They were great. That is all. Oh, good. Duly noted. The rifle looks like it just came out of the local Walmart sporting goods department, Your Honor. I wondered about that, but I suppose, is it possible they like took it apart, painted it black for some reason? Why would you do that? And weirdos everywhere, I guess. I've run into a lot of weirdos. That they could have some in the family. $2 million offered for Fold AR. $2 million Charlie turned down. Charlie did not turn down $2 million. $2 million was withdrawn from Charlie. That's different. More needs to be said about the wound size and shape. There's no way an entry wound from a 30-06 150-yard shot. Entry wounds from a stable bullet are small and round. Yeah, should be about 3 inches, 3/10 of an inch around. Yeah, I agree. I think the argument is that maybe it tumbled or tore the skin. I've heard both people say both. Shabbat Shalom. Erika Kirk needs to stay her hiney home. TMZ posted 2 hours ago that the fragment matches. The entire comment section is not having it. No, it did not match. We're going to cover that Sunday. That was part of the story I was going to cover. Come back Sunday night. I'll explain why it's all nonsense and could result in sanctions, frankly. Could result in sanctions. Probably should result in sanctions based on what we know. I wish I was a fly on Erika's wall today, especially. I don't want to be a fly on her wall. I got a high IQ outfit today. Lots of people were introduced to our humble host for casual day at the allergy office today. Love it so much. That's pretty casual. I don't know what kind of casual days you guys have. That's pretty casual. That's pretty casual. In the photo of the rifle, why is it in a box? Is that an evidence box? If that's the pic of the rifle, where's the towel? I did hear that it was a stock photo. I heard it was a stock photo. We can't get an answer. Daisy keeps emailing them and they won't respond. I'm not sure where the stock photo rumor arose. But it's pervasive. Trying to use bigger words, Lionel, if you're watching. If the UM didn't hit, you must have quit. You must have quit. What does that mean? If the UN didn't hit, you must have quit. Oh, if the gun. I got you. Fair enough. Firearm, as they say. Christ is king indeed. The cast of characters includes 3 TRs. I think there were more than that. There were a bunch of them around. Regarding 30-06 stock image, rifle size versus foot tip, top left is wildly off. Mauser 30-06 is much larger. The stock swaps, wood for rubber, were circa 1980s. All right, I believe you. 30-06 Mauser 98s weren't offered until after World War II, but some were rebarreled Mauser 98s made earlier, which could explain the serial number. Who says it's an antique? Grandpa's not too old. The family, I think, said it was an antique. It was his grandpa's rifle, an antique rifle. I'm at a belly laughed at your Shapiro rant. Well, good. Laughter's good for the soul. What if someone went to TR's place to grab the gun? I gotta follow you here. Take a note. Slow down. And didn't want their prints on it, so they wrapped it in a towel. Okay, I'm with you. That same person was also involved in the bogus text messages. Could be. CBS appeal was over 2 hours long. Tyler Robinson's lawyers argued his body language could be used against him. Why not want the video released to prove the timeline? This was January. Did they not put it together yet? Love the show. Yeah, so there's a balance of wanting to try the case in the court of public opinion versus not wanting the public to be biased against your client. So I understand. I think the defense is doing a good job. I mean, if I had to judge them just as I sit here today, I think they're doing a pretty good job. Baron, if the bullet stayed in CK and fragmented, why only one jacket frag found? Christ is King, go Mans. We don't know how big the jacket fragment is. It'd be like 90% of it would still be a fragment, right? That's why when the people are always like, it was a fraction of a second, I was like, 99 over 100 is a fraction. It's still a fraction of a second. Not a small fraction. Shabbat Shalom, Daddy's eyebrows are home. Indeed, they were home. They're always home. They live there. Man, I just love the way he says, Bongina. Me, never thought, a thought I'd never imagined I would think. Well, Fleet, I can't help it. That's his name. Bongina. Your page is being shadow banded. Is it? Let me look at some stats here. Maybe a little. Hold on. Let me look at a little bit here. I don't know. Maybe a little. We're maybe a little off for Thursday night, but not too bad. Thank you. Hi, Baron. I'm Jeffrey, and I like apples. Duly noted. Hey, B, fun fact. Today is TR's birthday. Keep going, Max. It is indeed. It is indeed. Let me get back to the page. That page. The way to overcome the shadow banning is to hit the like button. The biggest way to do it. News.org identified pick of gun as stock photo. One of the first things that let us know the story was slop. No one, Dad, Grandpa could have identified it as Tyler's. Final giveaway, the story didn't add up. Do you have a link to where they identified it as a stock photo? Because we were really struggling to find it. Sorry if I'm late, working from Australia. No knife. There's a knife. Have you seen AK's response to the news release regarding EK and no security threat? Yes. Yes. Maybe we'll cover that. We will cover that Thursday as well, because that plays into the story that I was going to get to. Those are long flights that didn't land to refuel. Yeah, those are, that's not too long for those, though. I mean, those flights go overseas. Huachuca. Wasn't Kurt Metzger doing that? He is hilarious, but listening to him feels like doom scrolling. I like Kurt Metzger. He's funny. Baron. We get smarter every day, and sloppers just get indigestion. That rifle is not a Mauser Model 98. No recoil lug. 98 has a sizable lug in the side below where the bolt meets the barrel. Google it. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Googling. I don't see it. Oh, please. Look at a different picture. Yeah, I don't see it in there. You might be right. Do they all have that? It's interesting. That's an interesting take there. Mitchy Rock, thank you for your service, sir. Did Mitch comment and I missed it? Thank you, Cohen Film. Crestview is also very close to Hurlburt Field FL, a base known for its SF training. Duly noted. Duly noted. Wow. C-Web. JMJ, pray for us. Thank you. Ave Maria. Thank you. But Baron, tuning in late, usually watch replays. Catholic homeschooling mom of 11. Amazing. Just wanted to thank you for all you do. God bless you and your family. You're making a tremendous difference as a humble Catholic husband, father, and detective. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Thank you for that. Thank you. Very generous contribution. Keep taking care of those babies. Thank you. Hi, Baron. Watching from Poland. Tomorrow I'm going to Medjugorje in the Balkans. We'll pray for you and your family. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. The priest at a parish near here, I don't know if I don't want to say his name, but it's Father Dan Rehill. He's kind of known in Catholic circles online. He had his, I don't want to say his conversion experience because I think he was already Catholic, but he had his kind of like coming home moment at Medjugorje. So enjoy your time there. AK should have let her stunt double Drewski stand in for her with JD with the promise to recreate the memorial hug that would have filled the event. I guarantee you, had they announced Erika, JD, and Drewski, it would have been standing room only, and you would not have been able to get in. King B, great opener. Thank you. Pure speculation. Transponder on with FBI plans for orders, briefs, debriefs, maybe. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I will not speculate when it comes to the FBI. I'm just putting out the facts. You have speculated. And I figured people would speculate. I've owned modern World War II era rifles. Carl Gustav, 1898, with wood stripped and replaced with a composite stock being one. A lot of service members brought home trophies that ended up modern hunting rifles that would no doubt exit a human neck. I challenge someone. Show me a 30-06 that doesn't. And don't give me MLK. It like exited twice. As soon as I saw your fingers hit your brows, I said, oh, I hope Fleet jumps on that. And that is exactly what he sounds like. Ben gives me the ick. He's giving, now it's my turn to take your lunch money. Yeah, I don't think he took anyone's lunch money. I think his problem is people took his. I let a really good joke go there. I'm glad I did. I almost said it. It was like, when your joke is starting to fall out and you're like gauging, like, this is not a good one. That's where I just was. Remember to hit the like button, please. Likes are imperative. Youth smell the TPUSA rat. My teens heavily involved in Christian organization that welcomes all. Many are Catholic. Kids see through TPUSA and government. Yeah, another problem might not just be her. It might be that TPUSA has taken a very unpopular position relative to the Iran war. That's not very popular on campus. Nor is our greatest ally very popular on campus. And they are just beating the drum. And it's killing them. Not literally, but never thought I'd say this as someone who's watched Candace religiously for over a year, but when I only have time for one live stream, you're it. Don't tell her that. Shh. But thank you. Thank you. But away the key. Be very interesting to know what time CO and TF spoke to see if it lines up with the time of the FBI plane going to IF on the 19th. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Keep in mind, they would know about attempts to reach out. They would know ahead of time. I doubt she texted me. He's like, yeah, let's jump on a call right now. She said she had to beg him and everything else. So I doubt that took minutes, B, what time are those flights to Idaho Falls and what time was Candace's show? If they flew out before her show, then they must have had her phone bugged to know what she had seen in that video. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. That's a dark point. It's worse than that. They'd probably know the text messages going back and forth and that he had agreed to show her. It's a ballroom, not a ballroom. Love you, Baron. The whole city is. When you start comparing Erika to Tammy Faye Baker, not Elvis, because she's got that full vibe going on, and tell her she has the right to remain silent. It would go a long way towards repairing her image. I've tried to warn her. That's why I offered to work for her. $5 million a year for me to say, shh, stop, sit down. Hi, Baron. Do you think Prez trying to distract from CO investigation, suggesting EK sue and attacking her as low IQ? Keep going, Max. Yeah, that requires second level thinking, and I'm not sure he's there right now. He's pushing 80. Just throwing it out there, Aiken is also a very highbrow pinkies up equestrian hub. Polo, breeders, trainers, boarding, and shows. Don't know if anyone is a horse trafficker, donor-rich environment. We're talking about an FBI plane, though, not Erika's plane. I didn't know they were big into horses in Aiken. Deputy said forensics found a weapon, not we found a weapon and we need forensics over here. Do they normally participate in a search or on standby? That's a good question. I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point. That got past me, admittedly, Don. What's the PCB for? Are you a polychlorinated biphenyl? Danks live today. UVU documents showed 2 GOP reps asked police about a plan the night before the CK Big Bang. Have you seen? I have seen those documents. I didn't interpret them that way, though. I didn't see his live, admittedly. I'm not saying he was wrong. I'd have to watch it, see what he saw, what he said. I took it as they were asking, like, do we just show up? Is there a place we go? Do we go backstage? Where's it going to be? That's how I took it. They can't very well reactivate Cold War era government refuge bomb shelters after they become museums or otherwise repurposed or sold for the neo-Cold War pushed by the West, can they? Well, no, not very well. Not very well. Thank you, Dawn. Hold on, I don't normally open the new members, but what is porch light positivity? That sounds aggressive. I'm on your porch light, but it's okay. I'm positive. But I'm right here. Or rather, a neo-Cold War. Maybe it's a hot World War III. Yeah, I think there's some fear in that. Thank you, Moonbat. How sad is it that TPUSA murdered an American autistic person? In my opinion, there's no Christianity in those people who conspire together for the love of money. Yeah, I say autistic with him. I think Charlie might have just been one of those people that's really smart and kind of quirky. People jokingly call him autistic. I think it's something we say these days. But he is quirky. It was. There's no doubt about it. He was a quirky man. Very quirky. How about a purple party of truth with CO as POTUS, Barron as VP, and President of the Senate, an advocate for the people with the Senate acting in the people's interest as grand jury. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed, Gary. If nominated, I will not serve. I don't want to be a vice president. Are you kidding me? Actually, that's the only job I'd take. I will be the vice president or the Secretary of State. I'll be one of those two. I don't want to be anything else. Or D&I. I would like to be D&I. D&I, Secretary of State, Vice President. I don't want to be president, though. So if Candace is young, though. She's healthy. She'll be fine. But I'm not going to run for president when it's over. Not a bad plan. Not a bad plan. I'll serve in all those roles. Just put me in all of them. I sent a message yesterday about school shooter, 9/10/25, time 12:21 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time at Evergreen High School. Equal 1 hour 40 drive to Colorado Springs. Sam 000, Victor Marks. What do I think? Love you, B. Boy, that's interesting timing. Just 2 minutes before the Charlie Kirk deal, right? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting timing. I don't know if Victor Marks had anything to do with it or not. He's a creepy guy. I know that. Creep ball. Anytime someone says Israel's our only friend in the Middle East, I can't help but think before. Yeah, I read that earlier. Before then, we had no enemies in the Middle East. Yeah. Were you the same one that said it twice? Or is that going around today? EK Pick Me Girl took several attempts to get Miss Arizona. Title bestowed on her by officials groaning. Give it to Erika Franzfayer. She's going to keep coming back till we do. EK equals DEI. Miss Arizona. I think it was only 2 attempts in Arizona, 2 in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. 4 total attempts to win, but only 2 in each state. Anyone test number 6 Glazer, 30-06 Springfield, safety rounds, and similar. Not frangible rounds, they're buckshot. Hate to say, but I think they might fit the narrative. Number 6 Glazer. Number 6 Glazer. 30-06. Well, hold please. We're efforting. This says the safety slug. It doesn't say buckshot. Safety slug. Velocity 3,100 feet per second. A hot round. That's interesting. I don't know if anyone's tested or not. How hard are they to get? I don't know. I wonder if we get our hands on a box of those. That'd be a fun test. And put that on the Clips channel. Thank you. That's a good idea. Department of Energy owns Aiken site since Cold War era. Yeah, but the FBI does testing there. I know that. Hey, B, am I crazy if it looks like all the things they said Tyler Robinson turned himself in for was collected after he was in custody, or did I miss something? The gun was not. The towel, screwdriver. Those were all, I believe, collected before he was turned himself in. Yeah, but that may be all. Screwdriver. Erika saving all her energy for this weekend's WrestleMania fireworks entrances. I bet she'll tone it down if she shows up. All the limited hangouts, psyops, and distractions that we've been thrown our way since Trump took office makes me feel like we're living in a 1997 movie, Wag the Dog. Only there's no comedy in it. Crisis King indeed. That had Dustin Hoffman in it, did it? I remember watching that. It was a good movie. Good movie. High IQ opinion of space weather, Ben Ranch in CO. I mean, I know I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I don't even know where to begin searching that to get an opinion. I do like spaceweather.com if that's what you're talking about. Should I question myself why I'm suspicious of the Baron Michael Farmer and him being a copper miner? Chris Milligan's Leviathan Structure says mining metals, money, top layer to control of elites. I would question yourself if you're suspicious of that. That seems like a pretty far reach. Talk about Lord Michael Farmer. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty big reach to me. Tutius Maximus, thank you. For someone who doesn't like marshmallows, you sure roasted EK like one. Oh, I don't like them. I don't like them at all. Regarding to last night's episode, love Jim Croce. Fellow Croce fan in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. He's the GOAT. Bobby and I danced to Time in a Bottle at our wedding. Question about your lip pillow preference, Nick or not? Yes, I got a game changer for you. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I need to quit. Again. As a clinical psychologist, your insights in gaslighting and cognitive dissonance is meaningful. Conformity and personality disorders could also be applied to TPUSA. I'd be happy to chat if you'd like. I'll do all the amateur psychology from on this side of the screen, sir. Thank you for the offer. Hi, Baron. Fresh ginger is good for coughs and asthma. Okay. I like those ginger chews. Those are good. Maybe I'll get some of those. Does that count? Or is that not fresh enough? Fresh ginger doesn't taste very. I mean, it does if it's like mixed into something, but not just like yanking, gnawing on it. Baron, did you know I Don't Give a Dom has a show now? Yeah, and I promoted it. I've watched it. I watched the first part of a Lance Twigg series. It was interesting. Love your show. Crisis King indeed. I have watched it. I recommend it. Actually recommended it to someone today. Who was that? Who was I talking to? I can't remember who I was talking to. I recommended it to somebody. If TPUSA wanted to reverse their image, reach out to Candace and bring her on as the face of TPUSA. But Candace drops her current direction and investigations. Win-win deal for both parties. They would lose all their donations overnight. That's a no-go for them. I live in Lexington, South Carolina. Aiken has the Savannah River Nuclear Facility. The airport in Aiken is very tiny. I highly doubt a ton of landings there. That's what I'm saying. I've only seen a few, and they were all right there after the Charlie Kirk thing. That made me wonder, like, what's going on over here? You are on fire tonight, brother. God bless. Oh, thank you, Danny. What time is the member chat tomorrow? That'd be 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time. 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and then it's going to be a long day. Then I'll be on Lionel at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Lionel Nation. We'll have a good time. Isn't Lindsey Graham senator of South Carolina? Just thinking out loud. You talking about Senator Bubble Wand? Yeah, he is. Baron, did the report state anything about the engravings? It did. Yeah. Also noticed the gun is in a box. No way that box fits in his jeans. The box, I don't know, assuming it's a real photo of the actual gun that they discovered, I don't think the box was part of it. I think they probably brought that. Happy Easter, Baron. Today's my birthday and going to see Bus Boys with my hubby. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Have fun at Bus Boys. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Amazing. Love the members' lives. So can you please coordinate with Candace's book club so as not to conflict? It's at 2 p.m. your time tomorrow and every other Friday because that's bull butter. Well, you can come for the first hour of ours. I didn't know her schedule, honestly. I didn't know that she had a schedule. I like to go a little earlier on Fridays because I usually have baseball in the evenings. So I'll have to talk to her about that. Maybe I can cut a deal with her. If she'll start going before 5 o'clock on a Monday through Thursday basis, then I'll work out my members chat. Baron, I'm just messing with you, Principal Owens. It sounds like old school club DJ at closing time. I knew that was coming. I felt it for like a minute. Wow. Okay, sorry. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Bye, EK. That's kind of where I was headed with it. I bought my High Q t-shirt today. Happy bright week to any fellow Orthodox Christians. Christos and Nesty. Sending you love from Eastern Iowa. Okay. Duly noted. Happy Easter. Happy bright week to you. And enjoy that High IQ t-shirt. Cool. My sister is a doula. Takes a special disposition. She rocks. Blessings to Mama C. Edge. Thank you. She loves it. Not your sister, my wife. She loves it. Like she gets geeked out about it. They'll bring her on to talk about doulaing. You don't want too much information. I'm always like, I don't think I should know all that. From a fellow doula, I suggest a backup buddy. Okay. Thank you, Kate. Duly noted. Are you offering? Yes, I got the curl on the rice and thought, oh, look at it curl up. Baron would be so proud. See, cat lady? Perfect rice every time. Perfect rice every time. You can't screw it up with that recipe. It was amazing, wasn't it? For the Coleman Cookbook Fund, thank you. Yeah, we do a good job here. Julia had a cookbook, right? Wasn't it Julia Childs? I quit my gym to afford Baron membership. Exercising my high Q is important. I run, walk, and swim for free. God bless you. Yeah, just make sure you're hitting intensity, right? It's not volume, it's intensity. 10-minute, very highly intense workouts better than an hour workout where you're just moseying. Dear Adidas, opening statement: silver, cover up, crimson, fed slop, salmon, hold please, purple, high IQ, indigo, battle bun, blue, buccal, brown, Christ is king, khaki, no fake, gay, no fake, no gay, gray, and don't forget, Jesus loves you, yellow. That was a mouthful, but those would be beautiful colors. Beautiful colors. Man, I've been watching you a while, as well as CO. Just became a member. Thank you for going max every day. Thank you, Jamie. Welcome to the grand jury. I think you'll like it a lot. OMG, I was watching it 2X, and I lost it. Laughed so hard when you were doing the eyebrows. Christ is king. I can only imagine what the eyebrows were like at 2K, 2X. You're the best. No, you're the best. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Let's see here. Oh, I see. Hello from Montreal. Go back. We just want the truth. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. All the way from Montreal, huh? It's cold up there. Oh, thank you. Baron, I've endured 5 adverts so far. Someone earning revenue against your wishes. YouTube, very greedy. No, actually, I like that YouTube runs ads because they only run more ads on shows that get more views. The problem is with YouTube, if they don't run ads, that means they're not pushing it out to people. So that's fine. When I say it's member supported, I'm not like taking live ad reads. I'm not ruling it out forever, but I've been offered several, and I keep telling them, my members, we have a good chat at the end. They're supportive. Well, I don't want to be greedy. After all, Romans 8:28, we know all things work together for good, those who love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Thank you. Drawn on finger eyebrows, akin to finger mustaches for the next Ben Shapiro impersonation, is a must. Yeah, you've all seen this. This is old school. This is new. This is new. I'm not surprised Mrs. C is a doula. With that many kids, I'd imagine she knows her stuff. Well, yeah, she's got 8 births out of the way. My wife and I had one in our home birth. She was great. Yeah, Mrs. C is great. No doubt about it. I've been to Antarctica, walked with the penguins, saw whales and seals. Went in February 2023. It was fantastic. Yeah, but I want to melt it. You see, you and I are different. You want to play with seals. I want to see the rocks. Like, I want to melt it down and see, is there a city under there? Is there a whole civilization? Are there people? What animals do we have? Let's see what's under the ice. Something's under the ice. It was flash frozen. That thing used to be on the equator, or at least up a little bit in a more temperate zone. I want to see it. Baron Ben sub sent super chat. Only way to show support to you, etc. Change my username. No joy. Tried channel membership. No joy. Possibly mod mistakenly blacklisted me. Just want to join RBP family. Super chat. Only way to support you, etc. Change my username. I don't know what no joy means. Now, if you have if you have the comments sorted by top and then you chat, you may not see it right away. So that's the only thing I can think of. But I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think anyone mistakenly blacklisted you. What are you, what did you say you are? A Celic warrior poet? I don't even know what that means. Baron, never done this in Americans. Never done this. Americans need to know U.S. Navy has been sunk by Iran. 5 destroyers crew and carrier Eisenhower. McGregor retired. Military speaking truth. Go to U.S. power analysis. They destroyed Israel also. Please pray for all. What are we talking about? Is this like secret inside information or is this breaking news? I'm guessing it's secret inside information. I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate what you're saying. I see no evidence that any of that's broken on the news. So I don't know. And I think Iran would be telling us if they did all that, right? Finally caught alive. Replay crew here. Welcome, E-Train. Welcome. It's your water's warm. Come on in. Thank you for all the info you share, especially how you tie themes together from the Charlie Kirk case, American history, and the Bible. By the way, Paul Walker left us the same day as the Kick Six. Bad day for all. I didn't know that was the same day. I wasn't paying attention to the news. I was watching the greatest play in college football history. Baron, I've done 700 tax returns. The White House $3,400 return is false. The propaganda is annoying. I don't know if I qualified because I sure didn't get it. In my opinion, EK is in grave danger. They could say she was severely depressed and took her own life. Maybe. Your thoughts? Go Max. Christ is king. Indeed. Hi, Donna. Miss your face. Thank you, Harvey. Yeah, I think potentially she could be in grave danger, but I don't think they would do it that way. I think they would be setting it up for some maniac and then blame Candace. I mean, that's my fear. Super chat convo with Baron B. Don't email. Use super chat to share tip. Us, all abbreviations tip because super chat charge by number of characters. B, I don't know what that means. We love you, Baron. Christ is king. I've sent a lot of super chats in my day. I've never been charged by the number of characters. I don't think. You just pick a number and they give you, I think, 280 characters to play with. I don't know that I've ever been charged by number of characters. Dropping membos on people's heads. Can the shadow program be run in reverse to show the height of the person to dispel Fed narrative? Secondly, a drop point is something used when more than one is involved, right? Christ is king. Christ is king indeed, yeah. Well, no, not necessarily. You could drop point for yourself. No, the shadow, well, the angle is going to be the same no matter how tall somebody is, but the shadow length is dependent on the height of the individual. So if you establish a shadow length and you look at the time of day, I guess you could calculate the height of the individual. But you'd have to do it down to the inch, and you can't do that on those programs. Like Google Earth isn't that precise. Not at that. I mean, they're in space, satellites. It's amazing we can see anything at all. Technology boggles me. Just boggles me. Open your eyes. The red spot appears low on his back, just above the chair. The neck was CGI. YouTube, whale in gym, 8 second, blood in front, none in back. I think that red spot is Dan Flood's thumb, but I could be wrong. I'll look again. I've looked like 10 times, but now you're giving me a spot to look at, not just the back. I did see one little pinkish spot start to appear, but if you fast forward a few frames, you can tell it's his thumb. I don't know what whale in gym means. I mean, making fun of fat girls working out, it's not polite. Fat guys, that's not polite. Whale in gym. We don't talk like that around. They're doing their best. I just can't support that. Kidding, Joey. The members are welcomingly low key, but work interferes. We'll catch up afterwards. Hey to Joe F. Hey, Joe. Thanks, Edge. Baron, could you please post your famous basmati rice recipe on your clips? That's actually a really good idea. I will do that. I don't know when. Don't hold me to like doing it tonight. I won't do it tonight, but I'll try to remember. Let me put it on my notes. Clip basmati episode 98. Duly noted. Yesterday, you mentioned the only thing that isn't sus with the feds are natural disasters. After Helene, I beg to differ. Manipulating weather can equal weaponizing. How does one fight weather? Scary. Well, I didn't say that all weather was natural, but I do think some weather is natural. I think if a tornado spins up, it's just unfortunate. You may know this already, but if you look up percussion pistol crucifixes, that's what that when detonated explode case fragments. Thank you for great show. Percussion. What do you call that? A percussion pistol crucifix? Okay. I see what you're talking about. A very unique pistol disguised as a crucifix. Weird. Are you saying that's what they had on him, was a pistol described as a crucifix? Baron. Karen here. Not a Karen, just received my high IQ hoodie. Well, you are a Karen, and I don't think people should call people Karens. They're Joes. First ever purchase from a podcast, the only podcast I watch other than CO. It is so comfortable. Thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you for saying that. Happy early episode 100. Victor Marx's FFL goes through his LLC. If he bought guns under the nonprofit for Haiti, he's entering felony territory. Well, that's kind of what I was suggesting last night. EK Hare, as we say in the business, died, fried, and laid to the side. Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Meat and veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit. Little starch, no sugar. What about beans and lentils? That's little starch. You missed little starch in there. Meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and no sugar. So you can eat a little bit of beans and I had some chickpeas today. You can eat a little bit of beans and lentils. P.S. You are a national treasure. Whoa. Dial it back, lady. All right, I'll accept it. Christ is soon coming, King Jesus, and you make him and us so proud, brother. I'm poor, so not many supers. Haha. Your presence is enough, Nikki. Thank you. And your very kind words. Thank you. Hi, Baron. As a fellow Catholic, I was wondering how you feel about the Pope's commenting on political issues. When do you think it's justified, and how do you think it should be done? Thank you. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Well, I'm glad you asked that, because there's been a lot of discussion about, is the Pope inappropriately commenting on things? I think the Pope can comment on any matter of faith and morals. So we consider abortion a political issue in this country, but it's a matter of faith and morals. The Pope is free to comment on it. Should he be weighing in on the speed limit of a stretch of interstate in rural Wyoming? Maybe not. Tax policy, I don't know. But ultimately, politics what we do in politics is try to legislate faith and morals. And they say, well, you can't legislate morality. Well, that's all we do, pretty much. You know, why can't you drive 150 miles an hour down the interstate? It puts people's lives in jeopardy. It's a matter of faith and morals. People shouldn't be put in jeopardy just because they have to go to the grocery store. And if you're going to drive 150, you're going to put them in jeopardy, and that's immoral. So, you know, at a certain point, through reductionist thinking, you eventually end up at faith and morals all the time. War is by definition faith and morals, particularly an unjust war. Catholic theology is very clear on what just and unjust wars are, and that just wars are acceptable and unjust wars are not. And so I don't have any problem with him weighing in on that stuff. I just don't. Number one website, FAA states plane hangars cannot be used as a residence. Operate a non-aeronautical bus, etc. How do people go to access transponders? This one was on the tarmac. It wasn't in a hangar. So that's good research, though. That's great. 2, security access logs to get on property, a private non-FAA runway. If not FAA, surely there's security that knows comings and goings. So this is a private FBO, and I'm sure they knew who was there. CO mentioned a ballistic report on September 10th matched quick-fold AR. Wouldn't trying to identify that backpack on that day point to a new suspect. Well, that's not quite. It wasn't a ballistic report. It was a trace. It was an ATF trace that was requested on a fold AR, and that trace was just a request. Like, who did you sell this to initially? That's all that was. So that wasn't a ballistic report. The backpack, a fold AR would fit in any backpack. I mean, I guess you could buy a special backpack from them. I'm sure they sell them, but I don't. I think you could put a Jansport if you wanted to. King Baron, do you know the chain of custody of the TMZ footage? I do not. Did police or FBI have them before TMZ release? Very important. I don't know. Christ is King indeed, though. I know that. Thanks for sharing about COPE. It's in center in AL. Is it connected to COPE in Miami? I don't know. I don't think so. A high school for pregnant teen moms, clinic, daycare, special training for moms to be new moms. I taught nutrition there in 2008. Amazing program. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed, Penny Lane. I don't think they're connected. I think COPE is just I think they're connected to, that's just an independent charity. I don't think they're connected to anything. The FBI plane landing for less than 1 hour in Idaho. Could this be the transfer of paperwork or something else important they don't want to send digitally? Maybe money. I thought of all those things. Who knows? It's a very quick trip. You said September 17th. Did you intend to say April 17th, or am I behind? I don't know. I don't know when I said that. I have to go back and look. I don't know. Why are we so addicted to this conspiracy? Because we all know this isn't right. That's it. There's no way he did it alone. No way. So just like start with the grandest and let's funnel it down. No way he did it alone. No way whatsoever. I don't think they've proven it was him on the roof. I don't think they've proven he was shot with a 30-06. And so you just begin funneling it down. And then you look at it, you say, man, what do we know? Well, we know Charlie was injured and died and succumbed to those injuries. We know that his security team did certain things leading up to it. We know they were having issues with the sound. We know they stuffed him in an SUV like a side of beef with a broken neck, supposedly, if it wasn't broken on the way. We know certain things. But the story doesn't add up. And when they try to force you to accept it, and more importantly, when they shame you, what they ought to say is, hey, if I'm TPUSA, if I'm Fed Slop Narrative, if I'm these podcasters, let us go crazy. If you're so confident, let us go crazy. And then just keep saying, well, you'll see a trial, I guess. And we'll see what happens. We're also rooting for the truth. We just don't believe what you're selling, but whatever. And then But when you push back, call people evil, call people devils, call people, I mean, kind of weird they didn't include how much each bullet fragment weighed. Might help narrow down what type of caliber and weight of the bullet used. Yeah, would. Send email with AZ connection to CO Theater Incident. Thank you, Michelle. Wait. Okay. Thank you. Don't sell me merch. That's where I am in life. Well, then don't buy it. Don't buy it. Hold on. Check something. Okay. Duly noted. Are you talking to me or are you talking to TPUSA about merch? I hope it's TPUSA. Revelation 2939 explains what we were dealing with. I believe you. What do you mean that it could result in sanctions? Tune in Sunday. You're going to want to hear this. UVU canceled 2026 graduation guest speaker due to safety concerns from CK assassination. ABC4, Utah News. They did indeed. And maybe I'll play that video Sunday too. TPUSA made fun of them for doing that. TPUSA made fun, Andrew and Blake in particular, made fun of UVU for canceling a guest speaker due to safety concerns. That's to tell you all you need to know about those characters. After you said we need to confess our sins out loud and repent, I did ask God to reveal himself as atheist. My daily unexplained back pain I had since 21 was gone in that very moment. I finished. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. That's an incredible story. You should document that. Like, record that. Put that on YouTube. That's incredible, Lana. What a story. That's an amazing story. A fragment is a broken, detached, or incomplete part of a larger whole. It refers to a small piece, shard, or remnant. Christ is king indeed. Go back. So that's a good definition of fragment. Do you think Marx could be the guy in Egypt playing pigs? Ooh. No. But that's interesting. Did you notice it was Mitch Snow who commented about the shadow bed? No, I didn't. I did not at all. But I don't see any evidence of again, maybe a little lower than normal. But the click rates are all pretty average, pretty normal. Maybe people are busy. I don't broadcast for the ratings. One of the dumbest and most inaccurate assassins would use a rifle with a barrel that could cause tumbling keyhole for a shot over 25 yards. Are you suggesting that 30-06 could do that? I don't know. Interesting. Mark's Facebook professed defender of orphans and widows. Weirdo. Yeah. I agree with that assessment. I didn't know that he put that on his Facebook, but I do agree with that assessment. Weirdo. No, weirdo. Absolutely love your show. TR mentioned his text message that there was no serial number on gun, allegedly, but court docs said there is a serial number. What gives? Keep up your good work. I think he said he didn't know whether there was a serial number. He didn't think there was. And if it did, it wouldn't trace back to him. That's how I remember that conversation. Joining late, so this might have been discussed earlier or already. Excuse me. I like to anticipate what you're saying. But regarding the confession letter, who puts a burning piece of paper in the trash? If nothing else is in there, it's a great place for it. Panama City Beach, Florida. Okay. Oh, PCB, not polychlorinated biphenyl. Got you. I thought that was a stock photo of the rifle. Looks nothing like an older Mauser 98. By the way, most valuable of old Mauser is unmodified. Chambered 8mm, 7.92. Duly noted. Since we know Charlie was not taken out with a bullet, where are they getting the fragments and casings from? Were they planted in him after the fact? That's certainly an option. I don't know. As a 40-year-old high-functioning autistic, I believe Charlie was on the spectrum, especially with him being so naive about certain issues. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Interesting perspective. Why are Trump and Vance tethering themselves to EK? She spends more time at White House in Mar-a-Lago than CK did. Is it weird? No. I don't know the answer to that, honestly. I've thought about it. I don't have a good answer. Pinnacle High School in Phoenix just canceled EK's appearance just now. Oh, 11 hours ago. High school group invited Erika Kirk to campus. Parents aren't happy. Interesting. Planned visit by Erika Kirk to a North Phoenix high school hosted by Turning Point USA student group sparked backlash from parents. Parents expressed concerns over safety and partisanship regarding the on-campus event. First Amendment experts reacted with mixed emotions to the school's response. I don't blame the kids. I don't blame the parents. Space weather news, pole shift opinion. I gave one on my member show. You're not a member, so you didn't see it. I think it's likely. I don't know when. I think it's likely. Set with serotine, chemically similar to nicotine without the harshness. L-theanine for chill vibes. Been able to cut back majorly on Zens with them. Last longer before needing another. Keep up the good work. Christ is king. Basmati is better than Jasmine. That's not even close. It's not even close. Thanks for the tip. Talked with hubby about stock on weapon. You can replace the stock and serial numbers would stay the same. That's true. And we don't know if they did that. Mrs. Coleman makes great meals, but Mr. Coleman is a chef. You're cooking and serving it up. Every episode I'm full and wanting more at the same time. The shows are so good. Thank you, sir. That's like eating Chinese food. You know, you go to the Chinese buffet and you get a plate and you sit down and you eat it and you're like, man, that was great. I'm stuffed. Then you go, and it's something like you end up going back for some reason. And you get another plate and you're like, this will be it. And then all of a sudden you're chatting and you're walking back and you're like, what is going on? I get it. I've been there. I just choked on my leftover Easter candy. Her fake hair, her jewelry, her golden Elvis suit, her expressions, and her inability to control her eyes. Oh, man, I love you, man. I love you, too. Thank you. Man, you got to do some ad reads for mattress fur, just like the good old days. Yeah, I've got some of those scripts laying around. Mattress fur. Save money, sleep happy. I can't do it loud because I feel goofy doing it. Save money. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. You got to be in a booth by myself. Did they test for gunshot residue on towel? Wouldn't gunshot residue transfer from towel to gun if TR wrapped the gun in towel directly after the Big Bang? Your thoughts? Go Max. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I don't know if they did or not. Riddle me this, Baron. Your oops a few shows ago. Should a king who blurs castle from the street also check a pillow for 29 images from the previous king? Yeah, I don't care. That's just, don't show up at the house. Yeah, I get it. Can only do so much. Oh gosh, what have I done? I've lost my grumblers. Where are you? There you are. You guys are hiding from me. Playing grumbler hide and seek, I see. Eisenhower had a small fire in Norfolk, not in Iran. Oh, duly noted. Baron, that FBI flight to South Carolina could be the link to the troops that were training from out of the country. Valhalla? I don't know. Way out of my depth. God bless you and your family. And Victor Marks definitely needs a deep dive. Guy's a shady character. I'm not sure he has any skin left after Candace roasted him alive the other day. You're hilarious. Hated Joe. Oh, Jesse on fire. Edge? I'll let him know you said hey. Thank you so much for not reading comments while you're doing your show. It's so annoying because it disrupts and people get all out of whack and don't remember what they're saying. So that was a tip from Ian very early on. I called him I didn't know what to do. I said, what do I do, man? Do I just pull these comments up as they go or do whatever? He said, my advice, wait till the end. I said, why? He said, a couple reasons. I said, one is it doesn't disrupt you from the show. You can do your whole show. People want to stay and watch chats, they can. If not, they don't. He said, second thing is, though, it creates a community because you guys are building off each other. You're talking. He said your community will be stronger. And I feel like we've had that here. Merch idea. Autocorrect thinks Chris is king. Yeah, that poor Chris. He has no idea he's running around with a heir to the throne. Baron. $2 gets 50 char and $5 gets 150 so on. Oh, I didn't know that. I see what you mean. You get charged by the character. I had no idea that's how it worked. I don't see. I didn't know that because I dropped big supers on people. So I had no idea they were limited at that number. I'm not bragging, but I like, that is so interesting. Why have I never heard that before? Well, thank you. You've informed me for $2. My kids walked in the room right as you were doing hand caterpillar eyebrows. Thanks for confirming to my 2 kids my insanity. I was choking on my Easter candy. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Isn't Easter candy stale by now? Well, Easter was a couple weeks ago. You must be Orthodox. Late to the show. EK's clothes look more like Elton John's cast-offs than Elvis's. EK provides the fake. Elton's clothes provided the gay. Fake and gay. That could be Liberace. He wore wild stuff, too. Is it possible EK blames TPUSA for CK, so her plan is to destroy TPUSA and burn it down? Imagine that. No, I don't think so. Yeah, she can grift for decades in that thing. 50 characters, $2. 150 characters, $5. 200 characters, $10. 250 characters, $50. Oh, that's why I thought you got 250 characters. I didn't know they had lower limits. Duly noted. Wonder who's missing a towel. No one buys just one single towel. Towels are purchased as sets. Love your show. Not at Costco, they're not. You can buy one towel. I own one of those folding guns. Shirts. Oh, do you really? That's awesome. Shirt's idea is RBP front. Remember, Jesus loves you on the back. Oh, I like that, actually. I like that a lot. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I like that a whole lot. Baron just gave Metallica lessons about adverbs. Now, that's funny. Well, they needed it. That's a hit from 1991. We've been, 35 years now singing Gripping My Pillow Tightly. I always add the Lee there just to keep it good. I told Ben to get off his high horse, but he said he was scared to jump down. He doesn't need to. He got a little horse. DK confusion. There was a second DQ at 575 East University in Orem that closed in September 2025. Someone went there and reported it was closed down, but it wasn't the correct location for TR. Love the show, Baron. I love that comment. That cleared up a lot of confusion for me. Thank you, Colby. 8 millimeters is smaller than 9 millimeters. That could be the Mauser. Yeah. I need to rewatch both you and Candace. I slept through both of you. Ivan. I even heard you in my dreams. Ivan. Anyone who fell asleep to me tonight, guess what? This is your humble host. It's time to wake up. Wake up. Wakey, wakey. Time to shakey, bakey. Wake up, you lazy head. Get your hiney out of bed. Raspberry Pi comment is the lead-in for my latest hacking video. Love you, GBC. Christ is king indeed. Thank you, Ivan. Hi, Baron. Did you watch the Victor Mark Eyes Going Black video? No, I meant to, and I got sidetracked and didn't. I should have. Now you reminded me I need to go back and do it. Isn't Jack Posobiec quote tweeting correct to TMZ's misleading post tainting the jury pool with a TPUSA association? I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that. Let's hear from our grumblers. They've been waiting anxiously all night, bated breath on the edge of their seat. Baron, let's use some toys to recreate the flights picking up and dropping off. We need to step into the map. Could AdFleet make a video of possibilities of flights picking up and dropping off? I mean, she can. I don't know if she will. But she's certainly talented enough to do it. Truest Patriot. Wow, very generous contribution. Congrats on your 100th episode next show. Mandatory, you buy one cupcake and have balloons in the background that spell out 100. I'm probably not going to do that if we're being honest. Probably not going to do that. There's a funny story about that I'm not going to share. Funny story about that I'm not going to share, but there's evidence of the Candace Owens 300 episode there's still evidence out there. There's still evidence out there. Police scanner. They found a weapon, but they didn't expose it yet. So how did they know they found a weapon? Also, officer describing roof doesn't mention screwdriver. Thanks, Baron, for all you do. Correct on both. I suppose if the towel was wrapped tightly, you could kind of see the outline of a weapon. That's kind of how I read that. Could be a plant. Dreamport Cyber Center, where more clandestine operations could take place. In Aiken, South Carolina, govtech.com, 0122 article, January 22nd article. Can't find if build was completed. Weird name. Yeah, it is a weird name. I don't know if it's there or not. I just know, all I know is the radiological thing. You guys are challenging my knowledge of Aiken, South Carolina. Tried to post 10 times in YouTube, stalled out every time. I hate to hear that. Has anyone compared Egyptian plane transponder times to other dates prior to 9/10 when they were near EK? Maybe that's how EK spoke with their bosses. Or if not on, then it was definitely part of the mission. The answer is yes, and it's on the master timeline. Dude, you said my name right. Oh, Mr. Weedman, you're welcome. If any of my students are watching, they will not only be smarter, but hearing my name will make me famous and not lame. You guys respect Mr. or Mrs. Weedman, please. With all due respect. Have some respect for your teacher. No fan of Zionists, but I can't see the public assassination of Kirk benefiting anyone but China. Heart attack doesn't require all the logistics and provides deniability. Post-Biden, China-backed Gladio. Okay. I will admit, a public assassination is tough to pull off, but it sends a better message. Rumblers revolt. Grumbler supers matter. I'm reading them. What are you talking about? Brittany? It's Brittany Beach. That's her name. I'm not calling her that. Her name is It's Brittany Beach, like the ocean. I'm reading you. I'm here for you. Bless you, Baron. Bless you, Cupston. I appreciate that. I didn't get a watch. I got a notification. DD got a podcast on body cams footage when Tyler got arrested. Did anyone see that? No. Does he have the footage? I'll be happy to go look at it. Thank you. Another good show is Scandal. Season 6, Episode 1. VP is popped from trapdoor under stage. Rifle shot for cover and bullets later switched at hospital. Heart back at you, Myra. Heart back at you. I tried to watch In the Bedroom with my husband, but he talked through the entire thing. Tried to guess what was going to happen next and assign blame to random characters. As a Catholic, is this grounds for a sanctified divorce? Well, there's no divorce in the Catholic Church, but you might be on your way to an annulment. That's unacceptable. Who talks during a movie? Why would you say anything during a movie? These people planned out an absolutely unbelievable theater experience. I think I'd find a procurator and seek an annulment. That's it. Look, I'm just being honest with you. Okay. Stop. Give him a second chance. But tell him if he says a single word, your humble host is going to have harsh things to say. And thank you for not emailing me. And thank you for that generous contribution. My daughter, Cadence, wants to hear you say, "Hold, please." She paid me for this message. Well, hold, please, Cadence, because you know what we've done? We've come to the end of the show. Guys, this is it. Thank you for joining me. This has been an absolute pleasure. If you are a member, I will be back tomorrow. 1 p.m. I will be on the Lionel Nation tomorrow night at 6 p.m. These are all Central Time. God's time. All Central Daylight Time. So 1 p.m., your humble host here on this channel, Jesse on Fire, will be with me. And I don't know if he'll be here for all of it, but he'll be for a chunk of it. And I know he has a show in the afternoon, so he may have to skedaddle a little early. And then Lionel Nation at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And then I saw someone say I skipped your comment. I didn't mean to. I thought I got to them all. I didn't see one from you, JoJo. No, I don't see it. Sorry, JoJo. I certainly didn't skip it on purpose. Oh, no, I read that. Oh. Grumblers Revolt. We would appreciate our Grumbler merch and that our supers are read before the end of the show while we're all still present and awake. Thank you for your attention to this matter. JoJo, duly noted. I think that's fair. It's a fair comment. I should go to you guys earlier. So thank you. And I apologize. I'm glad you said I skipped it because I did not intend to. I was just scrolling. But yeah, 1 p.m. member show, 6 p.m. Lionel. Sunday night, probably 5-ish if I had to guess. 5, maybe 6 p.m., but probably 5 p.m.-ish. Sunday night, I will be doing my regular Sunday night show. We have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I'm going to answer some of the questions you guys had tonight about sanctions. There's a good document we have to review. So we'll do that as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I hate to ask, I hate to beg, but it does help tremendously, particularly the next 24 to 48 hours as YouTube decides what shows to push up into people's feeds. The likes go a long way. So hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I do. Actually, I have a few more supers that rolled in. Trump's going to be at Dream City Church tomorrow with EK. We talked about that. What are grumblers? New members? Those are the people on Rumble. They're my grumblers. They're my grumblers. They grumble. You see them. You see the attitude I put up with over here. They're on a different screen. They're over here. You guys are over here. Can you create graph with a date time on x-axis distance between planes wise? No, I can't do that. That sounds like I'm back in high school. X and Y axis. I'm confused. Don't make me do that. That's the reason I went to law school. Blood and numbers. Not a fan. Actually, I can do math, but I don't know that I want to be charting stuff out. All right. You know what time it is. Don't forget. Remember, don't you ever forget. Jesus loves you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Get a good night's sleep, unless you're overseas. Don't fall asleep now. You got a whole day ahead of you. And I'll be back tomorrow. I hope you join me for the member show, 1 p.m. See you then.